hurricane, getting a machine here to get your data loaded onto it and get it back to a usable state can take several months after a hurricane. I mean, I remember most of our customers down here after Katrina, it took us 4 months to get equipment to them. We ordered it and it was ready to go, but
Yeah, but the price difference is huge because I'm looking at Google Cloud Storage 10 terabytes for $102 as opposed to,
for $102 per month, or,
it's $102.
well, it's a subscription-based software, so
Right.
I don't know what they're,
And another thing that we're looking at too, you know, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we're looking at upgrading the
RMS.
encode for the city probably in January. And a lot of that stuff's gonna be cloud-based,
Right.
so that we're not gonna have a need for a lot of storage space and stuff for the city stuff. It's
Right.
gonna all be,
The city, even with it upgrading to being a cloud-based solution, the city will still require an on-site server for, at the very least, handling DNS, DHCP, and domain controller.
and I
purposes.
understand that.
Right.
But I don't want us to spend a lot of money needlessly and,
Sure.
yeah. So,
But I'm not here to try to get you to spend more money. I'm actually trying to get you to spend less.
right,
So, yeah, if you go with a cloud-based solution, then obviously the backups on City Hall server, I don't want to say they become irrelevant, because there is still a lot of forms, templates, HR documentation, their GIS mapping.
and we
the-
plan on using that and
Right.
utilizing that with a new water service that we're using, the Neptune service and we're gonna overlay that with, the GPS location of all of the water, meters and valves and stuff.
Right.
So, but again, a lot of that stuff's gonna be, cloud-based.
And to finish answering your question about the Google Drive thing, the biggest difference between the two, Google Drive it stores data just like this one does. However, it doesn't do revisional data. So the situation is if a document is created and then accessed by multiple users, if it gets changed, you can go back 20, 30, 40, 100 revisions. It doesn't actually have a limit on how many revisions you can go back on. You can always go back in time to the original document with OmniSync. Google Drive, they allow you to do one revision. So if it's made a change, you can go back once, but if it's changed twice, that's it. You lose your original. So retention and revisions are one of the key defining factors.
Right.
So,
So Councilman, what are you saying that, since we're gonna switch over, does that make them irrelevant?
It doesn't make them irrelevant. It makes them a less need for that type of storage, you know, for what we're doing now. Now, of course, as he's saying, we will need an on-site server. We're not gonna be able to get around that. However, we do need to look into maybe doing some virtual servers for some of the different projects. I don't know if we can do that with the police department or not.
you know about virtual, you mean you have a cloud-hosted server, or you have virtual on-site?
Well, virtual on-site.
You have virtual on-site servers right now.
Okay.
That's what you're actually using. You have 4 servers, but 2 physical boxes.
2 physical boxes. Okay. So we have one for the police department and one for the city hall.
2, physical boxes, yes. You have one for each. Right.
Okay.
They all could have been run off of one physical server, but back at the time that was implemented, there were discrepancies in file sharing between City Hall and Police Department. So they wanted to separate them physically.
Okay. This, I have no problems with that.
But you have it now, so you might as well use it. So,
Mr. Nikes,
yes, sir.
so today, you're telling me for $1,000 and $220 a month, I can reduce my monthly bill from $1,238 down to $220 a month today?
As long as the upgrade on the old City Hall server is possible, then yes.
Okay,
Otherwise, that equipment will run somewhere, the backup server would run somewhere between $7,000 and $9,000.
so contractually, do I have to get into some kind of contract to get this $110 a month?
It comes
Twice?
with a 1-year contract.
Okay.
So, but that's
Still
other
pay
than
for
that.
myself. I mean, we'll talk about upgrading, it'll be 2 years before we finally get there, right? So I wouldn't mind getting to a year contract. I mean, 3 months, you saved your money, so it's one money well spent. So what would it take for us to get you to look at that backup server to tell us if it can be converted for that $1,000 and if we can move forward with this?
Just ask me to do it. I'll go take a look at it. It's not a billable hour or anything. That's not
Okay.
this is something as a sales pitch, if you will,
Yeah.
so,
That
yeah, I'll go
old,
take a look at it and see if it's
that old
upgradable.
server, that's the one that used tape backups?
I think it does have a tape drive on it,
Yeah.
but I mean, it wouldn't be in use for this.
Exactly, right, so that's what I was thinking, maybe we just get rid of that, just take it out of there. We
What,
don't
then
need
what, utilizing the tape drive?
it. No, take it out of there.
Oh, yeah, we could take it out, it doesn't,
It's
it
not-
doesn't matter if it's there or not,
Exactly,
the Linux that we're using isn't gonna touch it,
right.
so.
No. Yeah, I'd like to have you take a look at it. Go ahead,
Okay,
Mayor, I'm
absolutely.
sorry.
Yeah, there's also a couple proposals out there, one from Omni and one from another company for monthly, maintenance on them and everything that they had sent in and all.
Yes.
I'm not sure what all includes, but I would like to present that at a workshop along with this right here, so we can look at it and see what all needed, everything,
Yeah, we could do that.
you know.
So you don't want to take any action on this tonight?
I would ask to hold off till you look at these other proposals too, and
Right.
try to into a maintenance agreement and everything at the same time with, you know, if that's what we choose to do. I think y'all address this in the proposal y'all sent.
It's
So-
part of our estimate.
Yes.
Yeah, and I would ask that we look at it all at one time, we can have all, you know, paperwork in and everything for the next meeting. I think I might have sent it out.
Who requested the proposal?
I did, just throwing out there.
So when are we gonna look at this, at the workshop?
We can do it at
This
workshop.
Thursday?
Yeah, we can do Thursday.
Can we have him take a look at it between now and then, so we know the options, if it's
Yeah, I sent it out a
available?
while back, you know, stuff.
Um,
All right,
That savings would pay for
You have a-
part of a contract, for a maintenance contract, no matter which way we went, so.
so if we look at it Thursday, we can, take some action on it next
You
Tuesday.
make Thursday meeting, 5:30,
Is it this Thursday?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
is that okay?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
You think you better check out the other one before Thursday and just see if it's upgradable, just so we know?
Yeah, I'll take a look at the server that's in place and see if I can find out. It takes a little bit of research on the
Okay.
parts in it, the RAID card,
Okay,
so.
thank you, I appreciate your time.
All right, we'll see you Thursday, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Kelly Hawkins?
Good evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
you for having me with you this evening. I did give everyone a black folder before we started. I'm Kelly Hawkins. I'm with the Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence. I'm the Resource Development Director. I'm here to share a little bit with you about what we did in 2017, as well as to formally make a funding allocation request. The Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence has been serving victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, stalking, and human trafficking since 1977. As well as those who've lost a loved one to homicide. And the center provides residents of Bay St. Louis with access to a domestic violence program, including 2 emergency shelters, a sexual assault program, a children's program which features a therapeutic preschool for children impacted by violence, a criminal justice program, a survivors of homicide program, a legal clinic providing civil legal services, and a prevention education program. Within those programs, the center served 340 individuals from Bay St. Louis in 2017 alone. Of the 340 victims served, 139 women and children sought shelter for counseling through our domestic violence program. 15 adults and children were provided crisis interventions, counseling, or hospital responses through our sexual assault program. 2,072 crisis calls were received from Bay St. Louis. 145 domestic violence-related interventions were provided in your court systems. 255 nights of service and 765 meals were provided to your residents. And 7 people from the city were provided with civil legal services through our legal clinic. I encourage you to look over the provided statistics to better comprehend the full array of services provided to Bay St. Louis residents in 2017. But if these services were purchased separately within the community, the cost would total approximately $29,650. And on the second page of the statistics, you can see the breakdown of how that price was reached. Because of the applied costs, we are requesting your consideration in providing critical local funding. Specifically, we are requesting $2,500 to be allocated in your budget to help us continue providing life-saving services in Bay St. Louis. As a domestic violence shelter, state statute requires the center to receive 25% of our funding from local revenue sources. And your $2,500 in support will help us meet the goal while also being leveraged to bring in $10,000 in additional federal grant money, which is our primary source of funding. This funding appropriation is more than just money to our agency. It is also a shared commitment to ending interpersonal violence on the Gulf Coast. And we thank you for your consideration. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, thank you. Any questions, council?
How many people do you have on your staff?
About 47 or 48. I think we got a new staff member, but I could confirm that for you. We're just under 50.
Okay, are they, licensed people?
It depends on the type of position. We have administrative positions, we have licensed professional counselors, we have LMSWs, we have, so we do have a clinical staff, we have an administrative staff, we have residential advisors in our emergency shelters, we have credentialed early education specialists for our preschool. I could keep going. Did you have a specific area in the clinical department that you were asking about?
Clinical, yes.
Clinical. So yes, anyone in a clinical position, if their job requires it, they are properly licensed and credentialed,
Okay, thank you.
including LPCs and LMSWs.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hawkins. We'll give some consideration to that, okay? All right, thank you. All right, gonna go into the consent agenda. We have the cash balances. Before the docket, total of all funds is $3,637,623.51, and after the docket is going to be $3,443,293.01. We do have a certification letter certifying that all funds are available, and there's a recommendation to approve and to pay the following claim dockets: 9/4/2018, 18-028, and claim docket 9/4/2018, 18-029. Then there's a utility refund check register, 9/4/2018, 18-030, and the utility fund check register 9/4/2018, 18-031. Then we have the payroll, part of this consent agenda dated 8/31/18 in the amount of $178,884.32. Also part of the consent agenda is to spread the state of Mississippi policy cover page for the Alice and Tim Mosley Folk Art and Antique Museum, policy period of 4/12/2018 to 4/12/2019, with the lease with the Alice and Tim Mosley Folk Art and Antique Museum. Also part of this consent agenda is to spread the revenue and expense dated August 30th, 2018 on the minutes. Also part of it is approved two executed contracts with Jan Hale /SCSEP. Also part of the consent agenda is to spread proof of publication of Ordinance 631-07-2018, an ordinance of the City of Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, to allow the operation of golf carts on certain public roads and streets within the city on the minutes. And the last thing on the consent agenda is to spread and council members execute proclamation of the existence of a local emergency of Tropical Storm Gordon. What's the pleasure of the council?
Jeffrey, can we talk about the payroll for just a second?
Okay.
I noticed that the payroll, it doesn't list how many hours somebody worked on this
Doesn't what?
velocity.
Say that again.
I was looking at the payroll sheets, and it doesn't list how many hours somebody worked on it.
Is that just a setup in the new program?
I'm sorry, that was a custom report written for us by Paylocity, but if we need to adjust that, we can just let them know. Currently, no more columns will fit on the spreadsheet, so if y'all want to add something, we'll have to create a totally new report or leave some of those columns off.
Well, how do we keep track of person's hours and and overtime. It doesn't show it in the report.
Okay, like I said, if the council would like us to do another report, we can do another report, or we can replace some of those columns with hours. So if the council wants to let us know what to do, we can do.
I would like
Well,
to see the
we can
amount
do
of hours
anything.
somebody works
Yeah, I would
and
like
break out the
to keep it
overtime.
the same, you know. Matter of fact, I couldn't hardly find it because it was different tonight. But I would like to see those hours on there and overtime.
Yeah, we can produce another report with all the hours on it. That's perfectly doable.
Okay,
Okay?
all right. So do y'all still want to keep this with the consent agenda tonight?
Good.
Yeah, I'm good on it.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
good.
Motion approved consent agenda as presented.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Seal to approve the consent agenda,
Second?
second by Councilman Smith. Any more discussions? Let's vote the motion. Motion passed. Six zero, Councilman Zimmerman. The next, Councilman Zimmerman, the payroll, you're gonna step out for us on the next one. So you still abstain? Okay, so, all right, motion passes 7-0. 6-0. Councilman Hoffman is out. All right, city clerk comptroller report. All right, payroll for
Individual.
individual, Ms. Buddy.
Buddy, this is
You can step out.
Go.
All right, payroll for, in the dated 8/31/18 in the amount of $1,712.80. Need a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Seal,
Second?
second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? Let's vote the motion. Motion passes 5-0. Councilman Zimmerman is out the room. All right, docket of claim. All right. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Mayor, while we're looking at Mississippi Power, do they have a timeline when they're gonna finish, you know, the installation of the poles? But I got a call, but they're working with MDOT, aren't they? On some of the, but I got a call from, BJ Pitstop.
Yes. MDOT's gotta come back and straighten that out.
Do they have any timeline when they're gonna do it? Cause he's said it's
If they've
basically
been
affecting his
made
business.
aware of it, yeah. And they gotta get back over and clean that area up and.
You don't know
straighten
when?
it out. Now, hopefully this week.
They did haul some rocks.
They did it? Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. Page 16. Page 17. The elevator, That's just the, service, is that in City Hall or that in the, that's
All of our
them?
elevators, that's for them to maintain our elevators, and, also it gathers us, or I guess buys us next day service. If you don't have a contract with them, they'll put you off for, a week or more, depending on what their other clients need.
Okay. All right. All right, page 18. All right, we need a motion to approve the docket, total of $193,530.50. Well, yes.
Yes, motion.
Motion by Councilman Seal,
Second?
second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. All right, we have a docket of claim number 18-029 dated 9/4/18, coming out of the general fund for $800.
Motion to approve for James J. Kanishi for Tahiti Street topo survey for $800.
Second.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Seal, second by Councilman DeSalvo. Any discussion by the council? No discussion, vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0. All right, there's a utility fund check register number 18-030 dated 9/4/18, 400 meter deposit for $1,219.24. Need a motion to approve.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Smith,
Second.
second by Councilman Seal. There's no discussion, vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0. All right, also there is acceptance of SunTrust revised payment schedule for the latter.
You got one more utility.
One more
fund.
utility.
Okay, utility fund check
Yeah.
register number 08-031 dated 9/4/18, 400 meter deposit for $1,280.47. Need a motion to approve.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Smith,
Second.
second by Councilman DeSalvo. There's no discussion, vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0. All right, acceptance of SunTrust revised payment schedule for the ladder truck lease. Need a motion to accept that revised payment schedule.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Smith,
Second.
second by Councilman Seal.
Discussion, that was just an increase in the interest rate due to the new tax law changes, correct?
Correct,
Okay, thank you.
and y'all had held that from the last meeting.
Right.
All right. Let's vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0. All right, public forum. Did I get the, sheet? Ernest, why don't you come on up, Mr. Taylor? Is this the second annual night out? It's sort of like the neighborhood watch, isn't it?
It's similar to Neighborhood Watch, but it's on a larger scale. It's an opportunity for the citizens to actually come to one location to learn about all of what law enforcement does, and not just law enforcement, but what other resources that there are within the city of Bay St. Louis for them to reach out when they need help. It also has a component now that we will have the U.S. Marine are actually bringing their AMFAT machine in so that the kids will actually be able to get inside and actually be able to fire the weapons while they're there. So it's growing as each year comes. Last year we had Life Flight come and land the chopper where young people could actually get in, sit in, and take a photo with sitting in the chopper. Of course, they've agreed to come back again, but the city of Bay St. Louis and the city of Waveland, as well as Hancock County, are all a part of it. But I just wanted to make sure that the residents knew it was going on, that the council was behind it, and that we could get it supported, so we can get a lot more going. I've already talked to the mayor about it, and he's 100% behind, but I hadn't had a chance to actually speak to you gentlemen about it as well. But we need the support of the council to push the message that this event is going on. And I changed the date because last year we did it on the same date that the schools had the appreciation for the teachers, and it sort of messed up the event because we didn't have as many people show. So the more people we get to show, the more things that we can bring. There's also another component that's been added this year, which will be the Homeland Security. When I asked them to come like they did last year, they said the only way they could come is if they were actually being able to offer job opportunities. So they're actually going to take applications while they're there. And several other companies that are there is going to try to do the same thing. So it's a great opportunity for Bay St. Louis to actually come out and fellowship together. There's food for kids, so if you're thinking about the kids in the time of day, it's October the 2nd. It's on a Tuesday from 5:30 to 8:30. But there will be food and drinks there, so that if you hadn't had a chance to feed your child or your grandkids before you got there, there's food there for them and drinks as well. So I'm just asking for your help to get it out and get it
right.
recognized.
Don't we have a meeting on that night?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the calendar right now. We do have a meeting that night.
Yeah.
So we'd have to
Maybe cut
change
the
our
meeting.
meeting to the 9th and the 9th and the 23rd of that month, or 9th and the 23rd.
Okay,
We can push our meetings out if so desired.
we can,
We'll
push
discuss
it to the 9th if we could.
Or the third's a Wednesday. Wednesday's a bad.
I won't be
We-
there Wednesday.
We discuss
Be
it.
there Thursday. You did the 4th?
I'm out on the Thursdays.
All right, we'll figure out when
Yeah, we'll work it
we'll
out.
change the meeting dates.
All right,
Once
but
we
we're
figure
in-
out who's where.
We're in support of it.
Fantastic. That's what I wanted to hear. But just to let you know that also today when I got home today, I got a call from the AG's office. He's looking to come back for Coffee with a Cop, so I'm looking for another sponsor for Coffee with a Cop as well.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
All
John.
right. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Lisa, can you add that to council business?
I had a question.
Yes.
The location will be the Depot District, and we'll have the entire Depot District. We'll have it all blocked off, because we'll have a place for if y'all don't mind if I turn so I could talk to them. But we'll have a place for the tropical land, which they land in Stanislaus Field there. We have MDOT's coming, they're bringing their semi with all of their equipment in, so we'll have a place for them to park their vehicles. The fire department from Bay St. Louis actually does a live demonstration of how they use the jaws of life, so if you've never seen that before, you have not been to see that before. We'll see that at that time. And then next thing will be the smokehouse for our children, so they know how to get out of the fire situation, and be able to crawl under the smoke, and that'll be there as well. And that comes from Waveland Police Department, they actually donate that for that day. We also have different vendors that have already donated, and of course, I'd rather not say that until you see the flyer, but we're still gonna start pushing the flyer out as I gave the gentleman today, and that should be in the newspaper soon. Okay?
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And when, he said the Depot District is actually gonna be at the Bay St. Louis Community Center. And the Depot. Okay. All right. Then last year, you all had something that simulated the car wreck rolling.
Yes, sir. That came from Mississippi Highway Patrol, and this year will be coming from MDOT.
Okay, so they're gonna do the same thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you again, sir. All right. Next person, Miss Ellis Anderson. Yes, I mean Allison Anderson. I'm sorry.
That's okay, we get mixed up all the time. I'm here just to present a little bit of information before we get to number 9B on the Recycling Partnership Grant application. This has been a really great effort between folks in the Solid Waste Authority, folks in the City of Bay St. Louis, and the Hancock County Chamber Greenways Committee. We've prepared the application. We've collected letters of support from Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality, from Waste Management, who is the current trash hauler, from the Solid Waste Authority, and from Mississippi Power and Renew Our Rivers, who will be our cleanup partner. So this is a new grant opportunity from the Recycling Partnership, which is a national organization that is funded by companies that produce materials that often get recycled, like Coke bottles and cans and those kinds of things, because those folks don't want that stuff to end up in our waterways, just like we don't. And so they support this, and they give out grants every year, and this year is the first year they're giving out a coastal cleanup grant. So we are first in line to apply for it. And that means that they will They will reimburse the city for $31,500 for carts for individual households. They will provide $9,282 for public space receptacles at the marina to co-locate with the garbage cans, so that right next to the garbage can be a recycling bin, so that folks can put their cans and bottles in that. And they will provide, we are asking them for $3,600 for a coastal cleanup, which we will partner with folks like the Land Trust for the Mississippi Coastal Plain, with Mississippi Power and the Renew Our Rivers project, Coast Electric, and other groups such as the Greenways Committee and the Chamber and those kinds of folks. We'll try and get other groups involved in that. It will be partly water-based on the boat, and it will go from I-10 to Cedar Point or to Washington Street on boats, and then from Cedar Point to Washington Street. We'll also have some land-based crews going along the seawall and collecting. We want to do this next May so that we're kind of getting in shape for summer, getting our community in shape for summer. So as you know, we've come before you before and talked about the public support for recycling, curbside recycling in Bay St. Louis, and this is a way that we can, pursue some additional funding that will help to offset some of those initial costs, such as the cart.
Okay.
Any questions?
Heather,
I can
where
answer?
with the solid waste, where are we at on the recycling?
It hasn't really been discussed in the past couple of months. I think they were waiting on Diamond Head to try to see if they were needing to rebid, but Diamond Head hasn't mentioned it.
Okay. All right.
So I think the idea is that we would find out in November, like around November 1st, the results of this grant. There's another grant from NDEQ, which we can pursue as well. But those are ways that we can help offset the cost to Bay St. Louis residents.
So what do you need from us?
I need you to authorize the mayor to execute, to sign the application and send it off and to support the application.
You need that tonight?
I do need
Take
that
action
tonight,
tonight.
because we
So
need to, it's on 9A.
So what you would
9B.
do, if you got the grant, then when the Solid Waste Authority put together the RFP for recycling, that language would be incorporated in there to do exactly what Allison said, to offset the carts.
Okay.
There's a couple of different ways that it can be done.
All right. What's the pleasure of the council? Because we need to take some action, need a motion to authorize the mayor to go ahead and sign this.
Do we have to match any grant?
It is not a
funds?
matching grant. There's no match required. We've got some match in terms of volunteer hours and in-kind services for the cleanup. We anticipate that the waste hauler will donate the dumpster to collect the material at the end, just as they have always done in the past. So that's the only match that they require.
I'll make a motion, we accept and allow the mayor to execute a contract and see if we get the grant funding.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Knobloch to authorize the mayor to go ahead and sign this contract.
It's not it's an application.
The application.
Yeah.
For the grant for recycling grant. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Zimmerman. Any more discussion?
Yeah, discussions. Has the city attorney reviewed this grant to make sure we're not locking ourselves into anything or have any liability at some point?
I have.
Okay?
It's non-binding.
It's non-binding.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Please make that part of the minutes, Ms. Tilly. Thank you.
Any more discussion? If there's no more discussion, let's vote the motion. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you,
Anderson.
Ms.
All right. Next is Jim Wiley. All right, so you get on the next public forum. All right. Next, Ms. Diane Frederick.
Good evening, Board. We represent
State your name for the record.
Diane Frederick, 515 Easterbrook Street, 3rd Ward. First of all, I would like to say thank you to you, Jeffrey, to Mr. Knobloch, and to our mayor. On Monday, which was a holiday, you guys worked diligently to come out and work in our ward. We were very scared on Monday because we were thinking that we were gonna get some type of storm. And in just a little rain, our ditches overflew. So anyway, we say thank you again, but there is still work that needs to be done in the third ward, especially on Easterbrook Street. Still with rain, our ditches are full because some of the covers are still damaged or need to be replaced. And one cover that you guys did change that we thank you for, because of the last rain, the rocks are washing in the ditch. And one of the covers that were changed, that gentleman has put concrete to stop the rocks from flowing. So, again, so we just, are asking, we begging that y'all can please start the work soon.
They, an update on that, they, ordered some 24-inch covers to replace it, where it's a double 15-inch covers. I think Mr. Kanish okayed that part of it, and they'll start down past the houses where that one cover is, going to that vacant lot. They've already started cleaning the ditch out towards the highway and everything, so they'll start laying the covers coming back, and the plan is right now is to catch where we started at, the one you're talking about.
Right.
Is go back one, because that cover is rusted out underneath that driveway, then it's concrete covers for a little ways. So plan on going back to the one and catching, doing those covers down from there to the highway in this first phase on Estabrook there. And then we can go from there on back, work our way on back that way toward, St. Francis and all. And then
Right,
jump over and catch the other side, hopefully, and then the same thing on St. John Street.
okay, because I live closest to St. Francis,
You on it, right?
and the water overflows the road on that end also.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
Just about shut with dirt and mud.
yeah. I think Sam got a bad one in his driveway.
Yes, yes. So do y'all have any idea? I'm probably pressing y'all.
The idea to get started on these, on that end down there is when the culverts come in, hopefully they'll be in this week, maybe next week. And then start working our way back from there.
Again, we appreciate y'all.
All right.
We thank y'all for giving up y'all time on a holiday to come out, and help us out. Because we were to the point of pulling our hair out by Monday, because we thought we were gonna
Exactly.
get a lot of water. So again, thank y'all.
Well, I want to thank,
you.
Councilman Noblock and the mayor.
Yes.
The mayor got right on it. But Mayor, would you check that? They said that he put some more concrete in the ditch.
He's got it on the side right now,
It's on
trying to
the
keep
side.
the rocks in.
Okay.
Yes.
And as soon as we can get back over there and work our way back to that culvert, they'll readdress that problem, you know,
Okay.
along with that, whether we put some,
All right.
you know.
I want to correct you. I think he did a good thing. What he's tried to do is stop the rocks from
Yeah.
rolling.
Right.
He's not in front this time.
Right. And two other houses down, the Bush, they have put concrete because theirs is washing out. So
Right.
they put a few blocks in their, concrete blocks or whatever you call it,
That's
ready mix
Okay.
in theirs.
The last house before you get to the field.
Yes,
there.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you again.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate
you.
it. All right, next person, Ms. Rhonda Oliver.
Rhonda Oliver, Ward 5. Hello, buddy. You didn't come see about my culvert yet, buddy. At the last meeting, I brought up the tax increase that on 8/27/18 y'all advertised. Y'all voted to advertise in a workshop. And I told you probably need to talk to your attorney and get it some type of an opinion, or at least ask her. I don't know if y'all asked her or not, but I don't think you're supposed to take any action in a workshop. So that would probably make your advertising illegal.
Let me ask you a is that true, Ms. Heather?
The I mean, is it not, that was, something, something's going on with it.
Are you taking my time off while she's?
No, I'm just,
Are
I'm
you
keeping
trying
up
to
with
keep
your
me
time.
from talking?
I'm not, I promise. No, if it was a properly scheduled meeting or workshop, I mean, the theory is, or the truth is that any of your workshops are nothing more than a meeting. I mean, it's the same thing. They need to be noticed. They need to be proper. And on that day you had your budget workshop as an agenda item. So considering the circumstances, I'm okay with it. The idea there's not actually anything illegal about y'all taking action, but I definitely, if you have a public workshop and you tell them that you're there to discuss the budget, and then I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, approve a insurance contract, you shouldn't do that. But I don't have a problem with the fact that y'all approve the publication.
Okay, we'll check into it.
I'm starting your time again now.
Okay. In the paper, you advertised a 2 mil increase. Last year, you raised the millage 4 mils. You said 3 point something, but it was actually 4 mils
Yeah,
that you
3.7
advertised.
something, yeah.
This year, you did a 2 mil increase, but you took $100,000 from the library, which is probably a 0.75 millage. So you're going up on utility bills. You've gone up, from what I can tell, 200,000 is coming from the school, where they increased not their millage, but the cost of the millage, which is about $200,000. So this year I figured it was gonna be about 8.25 mils that y'all are going up. What are you doing with my money?
See,
It's right, almost 25% increase. That's not counting the tags and the other tax increases that y'all are putting on the citizens of Bay St. Louis. You're gonna go up 50 cents on the garbage bill. You're gonna charge us $2 a month for the grapple truck. What else are y'all going up on? Y'all raised all the fees last year. You have contractors in here, I know they're not happy because of all the fees that went up last year. When are y'all gonna learn to live within your budget? Is my 3 minutes up yet?
You got 15 seconds.
And you're going up $3 a month on the wastewater, so you're going up $5.50 on the water bills? Are you gonna give retired citizens a cut rate on that? No cut rate for the
Your
for the
15
senior
seconds is up.
citizens? Because they need it.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. You want to say something concerning that, Mr. Mayor?
I made a long dissertation at the last meeting about this,
Yes, we did.
and we explained
Workshop-
exactly where we were
Workshop
at.
has been
Yes.
laid out, what it's gonna cover and everything. We're not
Right.
going up 8 mils this year, the mill increase this year, the 2 plus what's it from the library. I don't know where the 8 mils come from, but, it's all laid out. in
One
all
little
workshops.
known fact, we've lost $700,000 a year from the casino. Since 2008, 2.5 million dollars to $1.8 million this year. We went less in millage than we've lost in casino revenue in 4 years. We're still down two mills. So it's $258,000 less than we had in 2008 from casino revenue to operate the city of Bay St. Louis.
Yeah, and the millage rate is almost 3 less than, what it was back then. Also, the fees we talk about going on, we still as low as anyone on the coast on millage rates. We're as low as anybody there is on fees for our services. We're the lowest there is on the entire Gulf Coast for water bills, by far, probably close to half. So when waste management goes up on our services, or the utility authority goes up, we pass it on to the customer. We lost a lot of money in the past for not looking at this, and we're just keeping up with time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Call me if you want to know.
Yeah. All right, Ms. Ann Hager. Ms. Ann Hager.
Hey, Ann Hager, 126 DeMontleton. I sent all of you an email, and I hope you received it and had time to read it. I don't think that 222 North Beach is appropriate for the use that is being requested. This property is surrounded by residents whom I don't think will all enjoy large events with music. As a witness who lives in a residential area that has music, I'm often disturbed by too loud music. I do not wish this for the residents around 222 North Beach. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hager. Appreciate that. All right, Ms. Sanders King.
1 second, Reverend Reed. I think this might also be in a zoning, so I don't know if you want
wanna
to.
wait till after?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, all right. All right, so we'll go right into P and Z.
Oh, gosh.
We have, yeah, just a couple. We was in P and Z meeting. That was the longest P and Z meeting I think I've been in since I've been a councilman.
That's a good thing, though, I think.
We had a lot of participation also. A lot of people here. All right. First item on the P and Z is Pellegrin and Grunch. And it's application for a special exception to the zoning ordinance. The applicant are asking for a special exception to allow the use of a venue, suites, and event planning on this parcel of land. The uses included in the business plan will be indoor and outdoor to accommodate guests. Property in question is located at 222 North Beach Boulevard, parcel number 149F-0-29-156.000, Part 350 and Part 387 and 388, First Ward, Bay St. Louis. Property is zoned R3 multifamily district. Is there anybody here? Yes, all right.
Good evening. Yes, Carrie Pellegrin, 222 North Beach Boulevard, Bay St. Louis, operator, owner of Harbor House Venue Suites and Event Planning.
And I'm Ashley Gruich,
Gruich.
owner operator of Harbor House Venue and Suites, 222 North Beach.
Okay, all right. Now, the P and Z recommended denial 6-0. Is there anybody here to speak in favor or against this application?
Against the application.
Yes. But would you come forward?
Jeffrey, you want to let them explain?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. So we appreciate your time. As an operator, owner of Harbor House Venue Suites and Event Planning, we wanted to give you guys a good overview of what we intend to do and bring to Bay St. Louis. We did drop off a packet for each of you about a week and a half ago, so hopefully you've seen the information that we provided. In the first page, that is a PowerPoint.
This one, right here, just so you have the correct one.
It's an overview of our website and our intended use for 222 North Beach. So in a high-level overview, we think that the name really constitutes exactly what we're trying to do: venue, suites, and event planning. The description of venue, I think, is very vague, as we discovered when we started this process. But our, I guess, description of venue is where we have an intimate outdoor setting for someone to have a smaller, intimate event. That could be a vow renewal, it could be it could be a wedding ceremony, a wedding reception. And on the first page of that packet, you'll see that we have the accommodations. Prior to us taking over, it was a bed and breakfast. We renamed it accommodations just to rejuvenate the space and the name. But we have maintained the integrity of the historic home by keeping it staged as, just as we say, accommodations / bed and breakfast or suites. And then on the last page, the second page, you'll see just an overview of the venue, as well as a couple of pictures of what we're calling the venue space. Obviously, we know this is an unfinished space. As we started the process, we began to rejuvenate the space. We put up a fence. We built a platform for some seating area to cover some of the broken up concrete from the previous home that was there. We cleaned up the backyard, we trimmed all of the trees back, we pressure washed the home. We did a lot to the space just to make it accommodation for us to use the vacation home, but also in intent to use it as a venue later in the future. And then on the last page, you'll see the event planning. Obviously, with the planning, there is planning, design, and execution. Ashley and I have done this over the past few years as a part-time space for us on the coast. We'd like to bring this to Bay St. Louis and continue our work with our clients that we have thus far been able to grow a relationship with and then bring that forward. One of the big things that we want to mention, and Ashley will touch more on this, is some of the amendments that we had given to our original business plan in consideration of some of the concerns that we have heard from the neighbors, as well as what we feel like putting in some stipulations and regulations on ourselves could really help ease some of the anxiety for some of the neighbors. And obviously we want to respect everyone's home, but we still want to be able to do our intended use. Some of the big things that we'd like to point out, and obviously as we're here we'll continue to speak more to this, but the wedding industry is a $72 billion industry, and our intent is really to bring that to Bay St. Louis. It's a destination business, and so where we don't require foot traffic, we actually will be bringing additional guests to Bay St. Louis. And based on that, from USA Today, from travelandleisure.com, there's numerous articles on how much the average wedding is spent in-house, as well as how much the average guests spend. Speaking on a revenue level, if we just held 48 events a year with up to 75 guests, which is our sweet spot, we could bring a revenue of $1.8 million to Bay St. Louis. And that is speaking on a very low end of what we could bring. In addition to 222, we are securing another piece of property to bring a larger venue. We have 2 land opportunities, one in Waveland and one in Bay St. Louis. Obviously, we'd like to keep our home in Bay St. Louis with the Harbor House brand and continue to grow it here.
Okay, I wanted to address a few of the concerns that were brought up at the zoning meeting. And then that'll get back into the stipulations that we've kind of put on ourselves for the smaller location of 222. But the main 3 concerns that were brought up at the zoning meeting were parking, noise, and the amount of people we're going to be having at our venue. As stated at the last meeting, we'll be using the street public parking in front of 222, as well as shuffling overflow traffic to the parking garage that y'all have already built on Main Street. We plan on using the local bodega golf cart rental to shuttle these guests from the the parking garage to 222 and back. The way we'll do that is the first hour, there will be a constant shuttle running from the parking garage to the home, and then they'll park at the home for the 2 hours in between, and the last hour it'll be a constant shuttle from the home back to the parking garage. The second, and this will be required, or we're trying to enforce it and get our guests to do this for any events over 30 people. The second concern was noise. We plan on, one of the stipulations we're putting on ourselves is we'll only do events on weekends, which means Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday and Saturday, we plan to follow all noise ordinances that the city already has in place, which we are under the understanding that that's at 10 p.m. noise is to stop. So if you book a wedding or event or bridal shower with Harbor House, your event and the contract must end by 10 p.m. That means music, everything is shut down. So if you want a 4-hour event, you need to schedule it 4 hours prior to 10 p.m. We also have got with some local DJs and bands to make sure that they're able to, that they understand decibel levels and everything. So we require that all entertainment be at or below the required max decibel level that Bay St. Louis has in place. And then for events on Sunday, it must end by 7 p.m. The amount of people, 100 seems like a ton. We've had a lot of people concerned with that, but 100 people event is really not that large. Our sweet spot is more 75, but I'll be honest, the interest we've got so far from the little advertising we've done, which we have stopped it all since this whole process has taken place, but since we're a smaller, more intimate setting, the majority have been 40 to 50. Aside from the few concerns, I wanted to point out a few things that I just think are relevant in this situation. And I want everybody to be aware that 222 was run as a business prior to us trying to take it over. It was known as Aunt Dot's B&B. Aunt Dot's B&B held events. The neighbors may not have been aware of it, but they held quite a few events. Actually, 30 days before we took over, they had an event for 50 plus people. Now we know getting into this that bed and breakfasts, I guess, are not allowed to hold events, or else we wouldn't be in this situation. But I don't think the neighbors even realized, with all the traffic that's already downtown, we did an average traffic count, and I think on the weekends, the average is 4,100, which, you know, the majority of that is on the weekends. So with the traffic flow and the noise already downtown, 222 is only 4 doors north of the commercial district. 222 also already has public parking in front of it, which has already somewhat commercialized the home. I understand the concerns of the neighbors, but at the same time, this isn't your typical residential area. It is literally 4 doors down from the start of the commercial district. We can sit at any point of the property and on the weekends hear the entertainment going on downtown. I also want to point out that as a, not guest, but bride or client of Harbor House, we require security. So that's something the previous owner did not require. I know that we had at the last zoning meeting, one of the neighbors brought up that there was a wedding there and he wasn't happy with the outcome of the wedding because of the way the previous owner ran it. She didn't require security. We require 1 to 2 security guards for every event. That's something we contract, so it's not up to them. If you book a event with us, that's included in your price. So we plan on being at every event. We are 100% committed to growing this business in Bay St. Louis. This is where we want to be. We love the town, and we really feel like Bay St. Louis needs something like this. Is there anything else you want to?
No, I think that's the biggest thing with the parking is outside of the shuttle, obviously, we have our own on-site parking in the back of the property. It's not large enough to accommodate 75 guests, but it is large enough to accommodate the suites part of this or a smaller event for bridal shower, such forth. We have, since the last meeting, we had talked to the general manager at Bodega. Since then, we've actually met with Kevin at Bodega. He's actually offered to not only let us rent the golf carts for the shuttle service, but he's also going to provide the labor for us. In addition, we will be using his vacation rentals for anyone that we cannot accommodate at our location. So I think not only does it bring additional revenue to the city, but it brings additional revenue to the local vendors and anyone that may have, VRBO homes or travel and vacation rentals.
And that's something I wanted to point on. For the reception side of it, we have recommended or will be recommending, and we are working with some local restaurants to come up with exclusive menus just for Harbor House. So we're trying to incorporate any way we can the local businesses and bring them more business. We've already used for a bridal show the local florist, the French Protégé, which I think she wrote a letter on her behalf. I'm not sure if y'all received that, but just wanted to.
Right, she wrote a letter on our behalf. So I think in short, obviously, there's, we value you guys' time, but we just felt like our last meeting, we didn't really get to speak to the revenue generation. We didn't get to speak to the business part of it. We spoke a lot about the concerns for the neighbors and really addressed that as much as we could. We really are flexible and we're willing to do whatever it takes to make this something that our neighbors and patrons are not only benefiting from, but also are comfortable with. Literally the day after we moved in, we put a privacy fence up on one side of our property to make one of our neighbors feel like we really were trying to give him his privacy and protect his family, or their family, excuse me. We put a barricade up between the other properties so nobody drove into the next door neighbor's driveway. We really have done everything we can to ease as many concerns with logistics as we can. So we appreciate your time and are ready for any questions.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Is there anybody here that would like to speak, for or against this application? Would you come to the microphone, state your name for the record? Good
afternoon. I'm Jim Wiley. I live at 216 North Beach. I'm one of the neighbors that they refer to. I think that the main thing, it seems to be that it's better to ask forgiveness than to get permission at the beginning. Had we been confronted, or had we been told about this in the beginning, the neighbors, maybe something could have been worked out somehow. I don't challenge that a bed and breakfast is a permissible usage of this property. This is not a bed and breakfast. As you've heard, this is going to be a reception hall. That is permissible in a commercial zoning situation. That's not what you have here. That would require a total change of zoning in a neighborhood that's residential and has been residential. By a 6-0 vote, the Bay St. Louis Planning and Zoning denied the applicant's special exception request to allow this venue, which is a reception hall. In fact, in the presentation you just heard, it was referred to as a reception hall or reception several times. It's in a residential area that's zoned R3. So the question that this council has before it today, legally, is was the Planning and Zoning Commission's denial arbitrary and capricious? So what is that? I'm not here to tell you what the criteria is. You've dealt with this before. I'm not the first guy, nor are they the first applicants to come before you asking for an appeal of the Planning and Zoning Commission's decision. But I will tell you a couple factors that should be considered. One is, was this proposed use consistent with the environment of the neighborhood? The second one is, was the proposed use detrimental to the use of the adjacent properties or the neighborhood uses? Another one is, was the proposed use a nuisance or hazard because of the number of persons using the facility, car noise, fumes generated by such a usage? What you did not hear, and what you will not find in any of the criteria that's before that you're to consider, is what type of economic impact this is going to have on the city of Bay St. Louis. And if I wrote this down, the applicants devoted considerable amount of their presentation to talk to you about the economic projections as if that should justify your decision to reverse the planning and zoning. That's not a criteria. That shouldn't be before you. It shouldn't have any impact on you, nor should pandering to the local businesses, hey, we're going to give you the contract to come provide catering. That's not an issue either. This is a reception hall, and that's all it will be. And a reception hall is not permitted in a C1 or a C2 zoned area. Only by special exception in a C3. Pardon me, only by special exception can it get into a C1 or C2. It is permissible in a C3, but that's not it. Because if you make this a permissible usage, you've converted this to an improper zoning. You have basically done what is called spot zoning. And to do spot zoning, there has to be proof of a mistake in the original zoning, or that the character of the neighborhood has changed to justify a rezoning. You've heard nothing today, nor did the Planning and Zoning Commission hear anything that would justify spot zoning here. This has been a traditional neighborhood, a residential neighborhood, and to change the decision of the Planning and Zoning today, you would have to decide that they acted arbitrarily and capriciously. And I'm not going to spend much more time here except to tell you this. The chart of uses for what is permissible in an R3 does not include a reception hall. You can call it a venue, but regardless of what you call it, it's the usage that really governs what this is. Rename it, say it's not in the chart of uses, say we want to have a new definition of what a venue is, but it's a reception hall, because the intended usage here is have people come over, they're going to have wedding receptions inside, they're going to have parties outside, they're going to have music playing. It's not proper for a residential neighborhood. My neighbor has 2 children. He'll speak to you. I won't address that, but I would not want my children, who are now older, but I don't want it in our neighborhood. It's just not appropriate. Waveland, if there's a place that they have where they can put this, I'm all for it. Let them go there. But make no bones about it. This reception hall, This is nothing more than a reception hall masquerading before you as a venue. It's not appropriate, it never will, it's already covered by the chart of uses. There's no need to change anything. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Wilder. Is there anybody else? Come to the microphone and state your name for the record.
My name is Sanders Kane. I live at 218 North Beach, which is the adjoining house across from them. But anyway, I'm against it. I spoke at the zoning meeting. If you look at the block, there's 6 houses that are there. 5 of the neighbors in that block spoke against this venture, and my position hasn't changed. We don't want to raise our kids on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night to an event. So we hope y'all consider that and do what's right for preserving a residential neighborhood. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. Anybody else?
I'm Nancy McDonald Irvin. I live at 106 Carroll Avenue. I am very much against this. I've lived here all my life. I've grown up on the beach. I now live around the corner. My side yard is basically 50 feet from the backyard of Doc Phillips' house, the one in question. If for no other reason other than we've already stated it was a residential area. It has always been residential. I would like for it to stay residential. For those of people that are here that may not have been here in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, on through 2005, it has been what Bay St. Louis stands for. There are only a few homes left that were rebuilt painstakingly after the storms, because residential started at Demottlin Street and went to the highway and beyond. Could we please keep what's left of the residential area of Bay St. Louis residential? It is not fair for the people in the area to have an event rental space like this. It's a wonderful idea. I recommend their ideas wholeheartedly. It's just in the wrong place. Please remember that.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, if there's nobody else, what's the pleasure of the council?
Jeff, I have a couple of questions for him real quick.
Yes.
Could y'all come back up? I understand, the noise issue downtown, but how many rooms do y'all have in that bed and breakfast?
So bedrooms, there's 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. Total home is about 2,800 square feet, so we have 2 living areas, a formal dining room, a kitchen, and then another separate living and dining space.
If you were gonna hold events like this, maybe you could use that little community center down there with the parking garage, because you could put your bands in there. It's very underutilized at this point, and then use your area, your bed and breakfast as kind of a staging point where the groom or the bride, wherever they stay there, and then use the community center where you can do those type of things.
I think it's a great idea. There's 2 things. One, we are using the parking garage, but just for a different source, so we'll be putting that kind of place on the map. I actually looked at the Longfellow Center to get married at, and the reason I didn't was because of the train. I'll be honest, the client that we have been able to generate really wants a backyard. They want lights in the trees. They want oaks. They want the waterfront, and those are the things that we are able to offer. The reception space that we speak to is only the exterior. The interior of the home, we obviously love the home. We use it as our vacation rental. We pay for it out of pocket. It's a space that we want to keep the integrity of and make sure that we protect. So the only spaces that we use indoors during receptions are the restrooms, and the caterers can use the kitchen, and then we'll have staging for the food. But all other events would be outside, simply because that's what our clients over the last 3 years of us being event planners have wanted.
Okay.
We've waited 3 years to find the perfect location in the Bay, and we thought we had, but I think it's a great suggestion, and we're not saying the right bride won't want to use that, and event planners will always suggest it.
All right, thanks. Ms. Pellegrin, I have a question. When you were looking for this venture, weren't you aware of the fact of the zoning? And so you just,
No, the
so this is an afterthought?
No, it's not an afterthought. We were misinformed. The prior owner of the Aunt Dot's B&B was running a bed and breakfast with events. We were originally going to take over her business license. Through that, we changed the name, and that's how all of this began. We thought we were doing what was already allowed because that is what she was doing.
And we were working with a real estate agent. We actually were looking at a property with that real estate agent, and he's the one that brought us to Aunt Dot's and said, I think I have a great way for you girls to get started. This could be your hub. I know you want a larger venue, but this is where we could get your name out. It's already an established business. That was back in April of this year. Obviously, since then, when we put the word venue in our name, that's when we found this out. And to speak to one of the concerns from Mr. Wiley, we were, in this process, we ended up going directly through the owners of the home out instead of Aunt Dot's previous owner, which was Sally Hogue. In that process, there was some legalities. We were not allowed to speak about the property. We're not allowed to speak about the name of our business. We're not sure how the name even got out outside the fact that she knew what our intentions were. We were not allowed to speak about this business until July 24th, 2018, which is the day we moved in. So although we are very much family-oriented, we enjoy people, obviously we're in the event planning business, we would have gone to every neighbor 20 times if we had been allowed to. So just wanted
Which
to
I
make
do
sure.
want to touch on that. We did. We once we got in, got things set up, put up a fence, did some landscaping, got settled, we hosted a meet and greet to let the neighbors know that our intentions were more smaller events, more intimate setting, not this big, large party house that some of them had envisioned.
But
and I'm not I don't remember the, Miss Irvin, she mentioned of, the last historic homes in this area. 222 is a registered historic home. That's what drew us to it. We want to share that. When we first saw this home, that we fell in love with it because of that. And we have, in getting started, everybody we've shown it to has fallen in love with it for that reason. That's why we wanted to make this our hub and get a larger venue to feed off of each other, and the brides can stay at the house, get ready, and then go to the larger venue if they have a wedding that would exceed the capacity of the smaller one.
All right, thank you. Is there any more questions, any more discussion from the council?
Ms. Heather, I have a question about this, if you could. Because this is a zoning issue, and they're wanting a venue that is supposed to be in a commercial area, and we're trying to put it into an R3 area. If we vote on this, would we not be changing the zoning?
Well, they're asking for a special exception.
They're asking
is
for a
what they're
special
asking
exception.
For this
Right.
property
We
only.
don't want
this
to
prop-
We don't
rezone.
want to rezone it commercial. We just want this specific property to have a special exception for the bed and breakfast to host some events.
Okay.
We would never want to rezone commercial. We understand what that means in 5 years or 10 years, and we want the integrity of this home to be that for the next 200 years. So
Okay.
we just want this special exception.
All right.
Thank you for the question.
Any more discussion from the council? Or what's the pleasure of the council tonight?
I recommend that we follow the recommendation of planning and zoning. Second that motion.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Knobloch to follow the recommendation of P&Z to deny this application, and it's second by Councilman Zimmerman. Any more discussion by the council? All right, all in favor, vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all so much. All right, next one. On the agenda, Ms. Mary Anderson, and it's an application for a variance to the zoning ordinance. The applicant is asking for a variance to the fence height regulation, section 406. The applicant will need a variance of 2 feet, resulting in a total of an 8-foot fence height to the side and rear yard property line, where a 6-foot fence height is allowed. Property in question is located at the corner of 510 North Beach Boulevard and Bayview Court. Parcel number 149G-0-21-019.000, First Ward, 254C, Bay St. Louis. Property is zone R1, single family district. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of this applicant? Would you come to the podium, sir? State your name for the record.
Robert Brent, 3523 Chapatulas, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay, do you want to say anything concerning?
I appreciate everyone's time and the opportunity to request my 2-foot variance. Like my friend said earlier, there was I thought a misunderstanding in the planning board where it came, my understanding, people thought I did it first and asked for permission later. And that absolutely was not the case. I did not know the fence rule, the code was 8 feet and then build a 6-foot. I mean, I didn't know it was 6 foot and build 8-foot fence. That was not the case. I'm a licensed contractor, a licensed real estate agent. I was instrumental in purchasing the property and I renovated the whole thing. During the renovation, someone broke in and stole a compressor, which is, you know, whatever, it happens. But on the way out, they took a brick and threw it through a set of French doors. And I'm thinking, that's more than somebody steal my compressor. That's somebody, whatever, with different intentions. But anyway, they broke in, what else do I have here? I understand from Ms. Thompson there were 16 cards sent out about people that may have an objection. And one neighbor did have an objection. She had stated, the neighbor that came forth had stated in her testimony up here that she thought that this variance had been denied in the past. I called Ms. Black and I asked her about that, and she said, to her knowledge, this variance on this street, I mean, she said without an address, this variance had never been denied on this street. The neighbor, I understand the neighbor in question is not my neighbor. I understand she's a few houses off the beach, so she's not, the restriction in her beach view is, you know, could be restricted by a tree on a neighbor that I don't even control. So the 2-foot fence, you know, obstructs her view, and that's her issue. But there's still a lot of property between me and her obstructions still that I have, you know, have no control over. But I'll be short. I only have much, but it wasn't done intentionally. I mean, I didn't build the fence. I didn't come up here and say, you know, I'm sorry, you know, please let me do it. That was not the case. I mean, the thinking was more along the lines of, she's 75 years old, she's alone, there's been a break-in, and so we put the fence up. I mean, I apologize about it. I mean, I'll take responsibility for it. I'll put the fence up, but it wasn't that I knew it was, you know, that it was 8 or that it was 6 and I put an 8-foot fence up.
All right, thank you, sir. Is there anybody here that'd like to speak for or against this application? All right, what's the pleasure of the council?
I'd like to make a motion to accept this zoning change and allow him to put the 8-foot fence up. I rode by and looked at it, and it's in a very congested, closed-in area between 2 pieces of property, and it's really not, doesn't seem to be taking away anybody's right to be able to see the beach. I don't think they could see it if the fence was not there. It's already constructed. It's a very nice fence. It's neat and clean, well constructed, and I think we could change that and let him approve to let him put that fence, leave the fence up as it is.
I second that motion. I also went to visit this area and saw the fence, and, the neighbor in question would have to be able to have x-ray vision to see through the house next door, which I know she doesn't. So, it's not obstructing a view, and I think, as the gentleman said, it was done in error, but well-intentioned. I don't think that this is gonna be an issue, going forth. I think we should just go ahead and override the P and Z on this decision.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Zimmerman to allow this applicant to construct this fence. Well, the fence is already constructed. And there's a second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion by the council?
Yeah, it's Gaussian. Did you get a permit? Pull a permit? You did pull a permit prior to the construction? Okay, and they approved the 8-foot fence, or did you just got a fence permit? You just got a fence permit? Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion by the council? All right, let's, yes, sir.
Historical, did it have to go in front of historical or anything, or no? Not there.
Not there.
Okay.
Okay, let's vote the motion. Motion passes 5-1. I'm gonna stay with the P and Z. All right, so you keep your fence up, sir. Now, what we usually do, if they, yeah. All right,
So, I asked.
okay. All right, you all right? Okay, next person is Sherry Journey. Application for a variance to the zoning ordinance. The applicant intends to build a single-family residence on this parcel. The applicant would need a variance of 12-foot, resulting in a total of a 13-foot setback to the front yard. Property in question is located at 101 Helen Drive, parcel number 135R-0-47-001.000, 25 Block 5, Jordan River Estates. First edition, the property is zone R1 Single Family District. Anybody here speak on behalf of this applicant? Anybody have anything to say for or against this application? What's the pleasure of the council?
Make a motion, we follow P and Z's recommendation and approve.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman DeSalvo to follow the recommendation of P and Z to approve this applicant. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Knobloch. Any more discussion from the council? Let's vote the motion. Motion passes 5-0. Councilman Smith is out the room. Next applicant is Kyle Brown. Application for a special exception to the zoning ordinance. The applicant is asking to allow an accessory structure to be constructed at the rear of the property where only one accessory structure is allowed by right. The structure will be utilized as a garage. Property in question is located at the 200 block of Henley Place, parcel number 137R-0-36-153.000, lot 1300, Henley Place, Fort Ward, Bay St. Louis. Parcel number 137R-0-36-154.000, lot 1500, Henley Place, Fort Ward, Bay St. Louis. The property is on R1 Single Family District. Is there anybody here? Yes, sir, Mr. Brown, would you like to say anything concerning your application?
Yes, sir, I'm Kyle Brown. I currently live at 308A St. Charles, and we're constructing a home at 211 Henley Place. So after the P and Z meeting, I spoke with Ms. Charlene Black. I feel like I didn't represent my application well at the P and Z meeting. She felt that I had a reasonable request and to come back tonight and share with you a couple of talking points that I didn't bring up that night. So one, I do have, this was already submitted with the variance application, but I do have a quick reference if you would like to look at. Well, this is, okay, yes, sir, this is the one as well. So I did combine two parcels. So I think I referred to them as lots, P and Z, but they're actually two parcels. So we have 180 feet on the frontage of Henley on the road. So it's 27,000 thousand square feet. I have a table on the back as well. So it's a very large piece of property. I made a few mistakes initially when we got started. I was eager. I had a very young child and another one on the way, which we now have. So I was eager to get started. I should have planned a little bit better. If you notice that the second house, the mother-in-law suite, had I combined that with the main home with a shared attic space, I wouldn't have to ask for an exception in the first place. But I failed to do that, and then I got a variance for the mother-in-law suite, which now I can't take that away, so I can't connect them again and go back and undo that. So now I have to put in an exception for this carport. So I would like to also add that I didn't have any objections from any neighbors. I don't see any of my neighbors here tonight, so I don't anticipate any other objections. Mr. Johnny Feldner and Justin Ladner on either side of me, I speak with them daily as I go by and check everything out, and they're on board with it. They're excited for us to get in. It's going to be a very nice property. I don't think the carport's going to take away from anything. In fact, I think it'll probably add value to the rest of the street. It'll hide the boat that I would otherwise have sitting in my yard back there. So I just ask that you consider my application tonight.
All right, Mr. Brown, thank you so much. Is there anybody here to speak for or against this application? If not, what's the pleasure of the council?
I would recommend that we override the P&Z on this decision. I think Mr. Brown, and having two parcels, this fits, I think, properly. I don't see an issue with this. I don't see the issue that they see. Maybe you can, Mr. Noblock, would you have any kind of thoughts on this?
Since this new information came back, we just may want to send it back to them just so they could just re-review it. I don't have a problem with this new information, but they didn't have the information available to them, so.
It was submitted with the application.
Yeah,
We discussed, this was discussed in planning and zoning over here.
I mean, it is a large size lot, 27,000 square feet.
Twice the area required. There's no square footage variance being requested. There's no side rear yard variance being requested. It's just if he'd attached a walkway to the mother-in-law cottage, there no exception or variance would be required for a 5-foot walkway. So to me, there's no issue with granting the variance.
Right. All right. Any more discussion? All right, vote the motion.
Oh, wait, do we do second?
Second it.
Who made the motion?
I made the motion.
All right.
One second.
All right, Councilman, motion by Councilman Smith to override P&Z and approve this application, second by Councilman Seal. If there's no more discussion, vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
All right, next applicant is Denise Bergeron. Application for a variance to the zoning ordinance. The application intentions is to construct a single-family residence on this parcel of land. The applicant is asking for a variance of 2 feet, resulting in a total of 6-foot setback to the side yard. The applicant would also need a variance of 8'8", resulting in a total of 11 4 inches setback to the rear yard. Property in question is located at 109 Valentine Street, parcel number 149N-0-30-057.000, Part 14, Fort Ward, Bay St. Louis. Property is on R1, single-family district. Is there anybody here to represent this application? Would you come to the microphone, state your name for the record?
Good evening, I'm Kim McElwee, on behalf of Denise Bergeron. Planning and zoning recommended approval. All the neighbors, no problem whatsoever.
All right.
Any question?
Thank you. Is anybody else want to speak for or against this application? Or what's the pleasure of the council?
Motion to approve the P&Z's decision to pass this, to accept this,
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Zimmerman to follow the recommendation of P&Z and approve this applicant. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smith. There's no more discussion from the...
Discussion.
Yes, sir.
Discussion, there's, the reason for the variance is because of oak trees on the property. Please make note of the trees on the property. Ms. Tilley, the trees will not be disturbed. Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. All right, let's vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0. Next applicant is Randy and Tina Lemoyne. Application for a variance to the zoning ordinance. The applicants are asking to construct a garage on an existing slab to the rear yard. The applicants will need a variance of 3 foot, resulting in a total of a 2 foot setback to the side yard. Property in question is located at 124 Sycamore Street, parcel number 149L-30-242.00124. 3rd Ward, Bay St. Louis. The property is zone R1, single family district. Yes, sir. Would you like to say something about the application?
Hey, how you doing? I appreciate the opportunity to come before you guys. I am Randy Lemoyne at 124 Sycamore, and we've been through the process through Historic Committee, and they passed this without a problem. And the reason why we want to use this existing slab, because it's been there, I guess, for a great long time. And if we could get the variance, we could, move the garage shed a little to the left, so we leave more distance between the home and the shed. But we went before planning and zoning, and they denied us 6-0 without any explanation at all. And the thing I'm really confused about is, we talked to Charlene about it, and a couple of applicants after that on Washington Street, they granted a variance for someone to add on a house, giving a setback of 1 foot and 3 foot. So I'm quite confused on why that one may have passed and ours different. It's just, so I'd appreciate if you guys could take into consideration to overturn the decision of planning and zoning.
And you did go before the historical
Yes, sir.
preservation, and they
Yes, sir.
approved
And they
it?
approved it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody here like to speak for or against this application?
Hi, Tina Lemoyne, 124 Sycamore. Just to reiterate what my husband said, y'all should have gotten an email. I tried to send yours and it kept sending it back, but I sent a picture showing that it doesn't interfere with any home. This was a part of Ms. McDonald's house, property, and the home next to us, it won't even come up to their structure. So again, it was kind of confusing. We didn't have anyone get up and speak against us or anything that, told us they didn't like it or whatever, but we would just ask for you to consider it so we could use that slab and stay a good amount of distance away from the home. Thank you.
All right. You send me an email. I don't think my city email works. I send it to my personal email. So just get in touch with our clerk, and she'll give you my personal email, all right? All right. Anybody else like to speak for or against this applicant? What's the pleasure of the council?
I would like to rescind the P and Z's denial. I think Mr. and Ms. Lemoyne, where that slab is already located, is non-obstruction. There's not fences, there's no nothing. It's not even close to the houses that are adjacent. And I think it would be a good use of space to put that there.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Smith to approve this application. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman DeSalvo. Any discussion?
Discussion. Mr. Lemoyne, please consider adding gutters as part of the requirement.
Oh, yes, sir.
Keep the water off the adjacent property
Yes,
by
sir.
ordinance zoning or by ordinance. Please add gutters and direct your water back onto your property.
Correct.
Please. Put that in a minute. Put that as part of the motion, Ms. Tilly, please.
All right, any more
Would
discussion?
you amend your motion?
Amend my motion.
Amend my second.
Thank
All
you.
right.
I'd like to say, I rode down and looked at the site and paid attention to the properties in the area. There's multiple locations within 400 or 500 feet of their property that have houses and sheds and stuff real near the fence lines, nearer than what he's wanting to put his.
Yes.
Okay.
Numerous locations.
All right, very good. If there's no more discussion, let's vote the motion. Motion carries 6-0. All right, thank you, Ms. Lamont. All right, next applicant is Nick Mills, and this is an application for a special subdivision plat approval and variance to the zoning ordinance. The applicant is asking to change the configuration of 2 parcels of land into 2 new parcels. If granted, each newly configured parcel will need variances to the lot width and the square footage. Parcel 1 will need a variance of 40.70 feet, resulting in a total of 59.30 to the lot width, as well as a variance of 6,624.12 square feet, resulting in a total 5,375.88 square feet to the lot area. Parcel 2 will need a variance of 40 feet, resulting in a total of 60 feet to the lot width, as well as a variance of 6,795.83 square feet, resulting in a total 5,204.17 square feet to the lot area. The property in question is located at 313 Skyline Drive, parcel number 136N-37-053.000 S, 1/2 of lot 21, block 28, Shoreline Estates, number 5. Parcel number 136N-337-054.00 north, 1/2 of lot 21 and lot 22, block 28, Shoreline Estates, number 5. The property is zone R1, single-family district. Anybody here to speak on behalf of this application? Anybody want to say anything for or against this application? What's the pleasure of the council?
Make a motion, we follow P&Z's recommendation and approve.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman DeSalvo to follow the recommendation of P&Z and approve this application. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have some discussion on it.
Yes, sir.
I disagree with cutting the lot sizes to such a small, almost in half. You know, we have an issue back there when people build houses for parking. You know, there's a vacation rental issue where, you know, overcrowding and things. And, you know, without knowing all the details about the property, I would just be, you know, I just think it's just cutting it way down. I just don't agree with those.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Knobloch. Any more discussion?
Yeah, look on Geo Portal, the average lot size is probably 60 feet, 65 feet in that area. Across the street, there's 3 50-foot lots. Next to that's a 65-foot. Next to that's a 69-foot. Next to this parcel is a 90-foot, and back to is an 89-foot. So if you average those up, you're probably not far out of average. I understand what you're saying, but just an average, you go back and look, those parcels are 50 to 75-foot lots anyway in those areas, and a lot of this is just reconfiguring. But and I agree, we don't want to cut them up too much, but if you look at the overall picture, the average lot size in the area, it's probably not far off from what the existing properties are.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Seal. Any more discussion? If there's no more discussion, let's vote the motion. Motion passes 5-1. Councilman Knobloch is against. Also, on this applicant, they can pick up their plats. Their plats are ready tonight on this particular application. All right, the next applicant is Pamela Williams. Application for a variance to the zoning ordinance. The application intention is to construct an addition to the rear of the resident. The applicant will need the following variances to the lot coverage, rear and side yard. A variance of 16% resulting in a total of 61% maximum building area. A variance of 7 feet resulting in a total of a 1-foot setback to the west side yard. A variance of 17 feet resulting in a total of 3-foot setback to the rear yard. Property in question is located at 221 Washington Street, parcel number 149M-20-30-093.000, 3rd Ward, Lot 263, Bay St. Louis. Property is zone R2, two-family district. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rodney Core, I'm here representing Ms. Williams.
You want to say anything? We just have questions.
Yes.
All right. Anybody here to speak for or against this application? If not, what's the pleasure of the council?
Motion to follow the recommendation of the P&Z.
There's a motion by Councilman Smith to follow the recommendation of P&Z and approve this application. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Salvo. Any discussion? All right, no discussion. Let's vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0. All right. All right, the next one is, Councilman Smith, you're going to have to do this one.
Okay. Core Financial LLC, application for the special subdivision plat approval and variance to the zoning ordinance. The applicant is asking to subdivide this parcel of land into 4 new parcels. Parcels 1, 2, and 3 will meet all the requirements set forth in the subdivision regulations. However, parcel 4 will need a variance not fronting on an improved road, Article 2, Definition 15. In addition, parcel 4 will need a variance of 25 feet required lot width. If subdivision is granted, parcel 1 will need a variance of 2 feet, resulting in a total of 18-foot setback to the rear yard. Parcel 2 will need a variance of 9%, resulting in a total of 54% lot coverage. The property in question is located at 300 South Toomey Street and the corner of Easterbrook Street. Parcel number 149L-0-29-139.000, Second Ward, 185 and 192A, Bay St. Louis. Property is zoned C1, Central Business District. Recommended approval, 6-0. What's the pleasure of the council?
Motion that we accept the P&Z recommendation to approve this variance.
Motion by Mr. Zimmerman,
I'll second it as long as we go out and actually anybody's against it, just because we skipped that step. That's the only thing I would ask.
do we have anybody here against it? I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay. Second by Mr. DeSalvo. Vote the motion?
Discussion.
Oh, discussion.
So parcel 4 is the,
Do you have the plat of that? You do.
so the access is through what?
Easterbrook?
Okay, so it's, you got 25 foot
20
easement through
20
there.
foot.
Yeah.
But that'd be perpetual easement that goes with
It's
the
a
property.
20 foot.
20-foot perpetual easement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Vote the motion? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Just
Thank you.
Note of clarification, Ms. Smith, the original application had a typo on the very bottom, the second says
Yeah.
parcel 2.
Should be
Parcel
parcel
1.
Should be parcel 1, that's correct.
So is it, I know we talked about P and Z, should it be parcel 1 and 2 or parcel 2 needs both the required rear yard setback?
Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's, and I don't know, just from a legal standpoint, it just,
That's correct.
just want you to make aware of it.
It's actually parcel 1 that needs a 2-foot rear yard setback.
Originally, that had parcel 1, and I think it was one that was really parcel 2, but really insignificant, but there was a legal, it was a change in application. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next applicant is, and also you can pick up your plat. Your plat is available, you can pick it up tonight, Mr. Cole.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next applicant is Ms. Gloria Strong. Application for a special subdivision plat approval and variance to the zoning ordinance. The applicant is asking to subdivide this parcel of land into 5 new parcels of land. Parcel A, C, D, and E will meet all requirements set forth for subdivision of property. However, parcel B, which lies in an R2 district fronting St. Charles Street, will need a variance 27.02 feet, resulting in a total of 47.98 feet to the lot width. Property in question is located at 250 St. Charles Street and extends to Cary Court. Parcel number 137R-0-44-021.000, Block 2, 13-23, St. Charles subdivision. The property is zone R2, two-family district, and R3 multifamily district. Is there anybody, yes, sir, you'd like to say something concerning the application?
No, sir, I'm just here to represent Ms. Strong. I'm just here for any questions.
All right. Is there anybody here that'd like to speak for or against this application? What's the pleasure of the council?
I'll make a recommendation. We accept the recommendation of planning and zoning.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Knobloch to accept the recommendation of P and Z to approve this application. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Salvo. Any discussion by the council? Let's vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, sir. And your plat is there to pick it up. All right, next applicant is Cure Land. This is an application for a special exception and a variance to the zoning ordinance. The applicant is asking to allow a temporary storage yard on the parcel in concurrence with the hotel located on Main Street and North Beach Boulevard. In addition, the applicant's intent is to install a 6-foot fence around the perimeter of the property. Therefore, a 2-foot variance to the fence height will be needed. The applicant will also need a variance of 25 feet, resulting in a total of 0 setback to the front yard for the fence. Property in question is located at 106 State Street, parcel number 149L-0-29-012.000, First Ward, Lot 500, Bay St. Louis. Property zone C1 Central Business District. Yes, sir. Like to say something about the application?
Yeah, Daniel Coates, representing Cure Land Company. Just here to answer any questions the council may have in reference to this variance.
Okay. Anybody here would like to speak for or against this application? Yes, sir. Come to the mic and state your name, sir.
John Oman, I live on DeMontlison Avenue. This fence will be about 60 feet from my back door. I have no problem with the location or anything else. I don't even care what type fence it is. But half the council was present at the planning and zoning meeting, and there was discussion about what type, and I don't think there was anything resolved there, and I just think it would be in everybody's best interest that that were clarified tonight.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Council?
Mr. Coates, has this fence been approved by Historical Preservation Commission?
Yes, sir, it has.
Okay. And were they specific on type of fence or fence material that was required?
No, we had discussed it was a 6-foot chain link fence, security.
Okay. Okay. There's a current fence there, so you're replacing the existing fence?
If you want to call it a fence.
Right.
It's basically like chicken wire.
Right. Okay. So when there was discussion around a survey, about surveying it, the property, or is it confident the property line is on that dilapidated structure or fence or whatever? Where are you planning on running the fence at?
It's, well, actually, we just had a survey completed a few weeks ago because we have given Mr. LeBlanc a easement, you know, for his condos.
Right.
So, as far as the current survey, within the last 30 days.
Okay, cool. I have some questions, and I got a motion written up here I kind of worked on because it's something different. But I think it's needed, it's the right direction to go. But I'd like some specific dialogue in the motion itself, so.
Okay. I'd like to, if we're going to approve this applicant, I'd like to make some requirements that you can put the fence up after you pull the building permit. You can't put it up until you pull the building permit, and then 10 days take it down after the CO, after the certificate of occupancy.
Sure.
Take it down.
Motion.
Yeah. Yeah, I want that to be part of the motion.
Okay. If there's any more questions, I'll make a motion to approve.
Do y'all want any slats or anything to
Well,
cover?
it's, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
My motion would be to approve placement of a temporary fence in a temporary laydown yard with stipulation that a 6-foot chain link fence shall have complete visual barrier to person outside the perimeter, or a wood privacy fence may be used in place of chain link fence. The fence may be constructed after obtaining a building permit for construction of the hotel. The fence shall be removed no later than 10 days after issuance of certificate of occupancy of the hotel. The property shall go back to its original state in which the building department will take photos in the property in its present condition for file.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smith. Any more discussion? Let's vote the motion.
One other small housekeeping, probably won't be a lot of traffic, but there was concern about dust.
We intend to place an inner screen
Okay.
along the fence.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not big enough to do a lot of driving on, but if the neighbors do start getting
Sure.
dusty, we might have to do a little wet down or something. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0.
I'll send you that motion, Lisa.
All right, next applicant is Garcia and Sons Development LLC. The application for a variance to the zoning ordinance. The applicant's intention is to construct a triplex on this parcel of land, which is allowed by right in a C2 district. The applicant is asking for a variance of 22.5 feet, resulting in a total of 27.5 feet setback to the front yard. In addition, the applicant is also asking for a variance of 118 square feet, resulting in a total of 632 square feet to the minimum livable area to the Unit 3, whereas a 750 square foot livable area is required. Property in question is located at 604 South Beach Boulevard, parcel number 149P-0-30-016.000, lot 334, D, 3rd Ward, Bay St. Louis. Property is on C2 Neighborhood Commercial District. You'd like to say anything concerning the application?
Garrett Garcia with Garcia and Son Development, and I think most of y'all were there, so keep this moving along unless y'all have any questions.
All right. Anybody here that wants to say anything for or against this application? All right, what's the pleasure of the council?
I recommend approving the application.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Knobloch to accept the recommendation of P&Z and approve this application. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Zimmerman. Any discussion? Let's vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0. You may proceed.
Good work.
All right.
I think there's something else next.
Yes.
Site plan.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
this is a minor site plan.
Yeah,
The plan is only
minor.
required.
Y'all are not, yeah, I believe so. I believe y'all are required to. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Next applicant is Richard Patterson, application for a special exception to the zoning ordinance. The applicant is asking for a special exception, section 621, to allow an outdoor flea market. The property in question is located at 9008 McLaurin Street, parcel number 137M-135-042.000, 1-20, block 126, Bay St. Louis Land and Improvement Company. Property is zone C3, Highway Commercial District. Anybody here representing this application? All right, anybody speak for or against this application? What's the pleasure of the council?
I recommend we accept the denial from planning and zoning.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Knobloch to follow the recommendation of P&Z and deny this application. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? Let's vote the motion. Motion passes, carries 6-0. Next applicant is Martha and Sandra Conrad, application for a special exception to the zoning ordinance. The applicants are asking for a special exception to the zoning ordinance to allow the use of a brew pub for the production, selling, and serving of beer within the establishment. Property in question is located at 122 and 124 Blaze Avenue, parcel number 149M-2-29-004.000, 3rd Ward, lot 17B and plot 47, Bay St. Louis. The property is zone C2 Neighborhood Commercial District. Yes, sir. Like to say anything concerning the application?
I'm Martin Conrad. I'm here with my wife, Sandra Conrad. We're here to answer any questions that the council may have.
All right. Anybody here to speak for or against this application? All right. What's the pleasure of the council?
I motion that we follow the recommendation of P&Z.
All right. There's a motion by Councilman Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Zimmerman. With discussion.
Discussion? Yeah, I know, some of the concerns was live music.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I think it was approved that y'all would not be doing any outside live music, correct?
Yes, sir.
Inside, but you would be doing inside
We'll
normal
follow
stuff,
the,
no
we'll follow the
outside.
noise ordinance of Bay St. Louis.
No outside loud music.
Outside.
Yes, sir.
Part of the stipulation, no outside loud music, no outside live music.
Amend your motion.
Amended motion?
I think that was understood during planning and zoning.
Yes.
And that was agreed upon at planning and
Yes.
zoning. Okay,
And we'll follow that.
thank you.
Okay. All right. Councilman Smith amended your motion.
I amend my motion?
Councilman Zimmerman, did you amend your
Yes,
motion?
amendment second.
All right. Any more discussion? All right. As long as we follow that, no outside music. All right, let's vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, sir.
Come get a beer.
Yeah, when are we gonna get a beer?
Yeah,
Not yet.
food and beer.
January, okay.
All right, engineers report.
They agreed in planning and zoning to have no outside live music.
Yes, sir, Mr. Kenichi.
Yes, sir, we just have a couple of updates.
Yes, sir, Ms. Kenichi.
Yeah.
Ms.
Hopefully,
Kenichi.
everybody has our report from a couple of weeks ago. We'll go through these as quick as we can. If you have any questions, I'll address those. Seminary project is substantially completed. We are working with the city to finish that out, to bring in some additional topsoil material and clean up all the debris. So hopefully within the next week or so, we'll have that one completed 100%. One of the items that we've been tracking for a while are some sewer upgrades or some sewer needs within the city. Probably one of the main one is going to be the sewer line from Sunset, runs through Sunset along the main branch towards the retirement home. We do have a cost estimate. What happens is that line just leaks, the manholes leak, and then there's some overflows. So we've put together a cost estimate of about $200,000 to go in and inspect that line, clean it, TV it to check the joints, to be sure we don't have any point repairs that are needed, and then to line that and seal it off. So that would be the estimated cost. That's total project cost as well.
That's gonna be a total repair?
Yes,
I
it's
mean-
about 2,300 feet of 10-inch pipe, and it spans from basically Sunset all the way to the lift station. I'm not sure what number that is by the 11.
You need some action on this tonight, Ms. Kenichi?
To proceed, this would be a project that would have to be bid out to go through the bid process. So if the council did want to proceed with that, then yes, we would need authorization to proceed. And
Yeah, I'd like to proceed and take a look at it. Also look, as there's no DEQ remediation money.
we have identified some funds through DEQ through an SRF program. It's a low-interest revolving loan program. We did contact them. They don't have any grants available at this time. The loan rates are about 1.75%. It is, to go that route, those are usually used for larger projects.
I just didn't know if there's any type of remediation, because we do have effluent sometimes that is outside of primary containment.
That's right.
Technical terms. Yeah, I mean, it's something that we've probably been fortunate over the years to have skirted the boundaries a little bit on it. So I think Mr. Zimmerman would say it's been 20 years past due.
So where are we gonna get the money?
Utility
Get
maintenance.
some out of utility?
$691,000 in it right now.
Okay.
So, we need to make a motion to move forward on a project, to get a project package started to go out for bids.
Construction documents and bid documents, yes, sir.
All right, we'll make a motion to go out with the, we'll call it the, what you wanna call it, Sunset, the Dunbar lift station sewer repair lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a motion by Councilman Seal to just get the ball rolling on putting the package together for this project. And we're going to identify getting the funds out of the utility Fund,
Utility Capital Maintenance Fund.
Utility Capital Maintenance Fund. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman DeSalvo. Any more discussion on this budget?
Yeah, I would like for us to continue to look for any type of help on funding. I know
Okay.
you do, but I just would like that part of the, we get a lot of people coming up and say there's millions of dollars of grants laying out there we never apply for, but we do look, and there's just not a whole lot of money laying around on the ground out there. So just we can give it a good kick the tires and try to find something that would help us. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Some SRF loans may be forgivable. Last time I spoke with DEQ, so it might be something to check out, that even if it's a loan, but they'll forgive it later if we meet certain criterias. That'd be something to check into. The problem with a lot of it is if it's just from lack of maintenance, it's hard to get grant funds for it, to be honest, so.
All
Jason,
right.
go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Jason, if you would, check and see, I think a small section of that line was replaced after Katrina from Dunbar back to the lift station.
Okay.
So I'm just not sure about it. I think they put some PVC in there, some 10 or 12 inch PVC for that one run, because that was in the totally destroyed area.
Okay, we'll verify that.
Huh? No, starting at the manhole that's in the middle of Dunbar, going back to the lift station. I think that piece of pipe has been changed out. We never had any problems with it since the storm, so I think that's one of the lines that we're changing.
What are you talking about?
From Dunbar back to lift station 11, it's, goes to that no man's land down there.
That last
Bad.
section of the gravity line.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It'll save us a few dollars anyway.
Yeah, we'll confirm that.
Thank you.
All right. There's a motion on the floor by Councilman Seal, second by Councilman DeSalvo. Let's vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, thank you. We'll get started on that as well. The next item, we've talked about this for a while. We're working with Public Works on the Dunbar Avenue settlement repair. The theory behind this is we want to remove some of the asphalt and do a visual inspection to see if we have any voids or what condition that subbase is in before we finalize our repair plans. We're working with Public Works on getting that scheduled as well.
Okay. Yeah, because we scoped those lines and found no infiltration, so we
Right.
assume it's just settlement.
Settlement, right.
Okay.
And we'll just remove a short segment of it right in the area that's settling right now
I
along
mean,
the
it's
surface.
just, it's deadly.
Yeah.
Getting worse. I mean, it's almost a safety hazard now because water is deep enough that somebody can.
You can
hydroplane
definitely
in.
feel it.
Yeah.
Are you all gonna check that out on Dunbar also, right there, Mississippi Power? You all,
Come in and do the same thing there,
okay.
check and make sure
Y'all gonna
they
do it
got
at a
your
later
settlement
date, or-
again there.
Y'all gonna do it at a later date or at the same time?
As soon as they get the hot patch in, they're gonna do that.
Okay. All right.
Okay. The next item, the Carroll Avenue Safe Routes Project. We have a tentative start date of mid-September, which is really this week. We've had a hard time getting access to a DEQ-approved pit to pull the samples with all the rain the past couple of weeks. So as soon as we have that, the testing lab was able to get out there today and actually pull the samples. So once we have all the density samples, we'll be able to approve that pit and then get started on the construction. And we'll notify any lane closures. We'll have to go through the city. We'll notify the city departments of any lane closures, and the contractor does have to work around the school schedule because there's a lot of children that use that street to access from the apartment complex to the high school and the middle school. So they have to work around those hours. Citywide drainage items that we've been looking at, we do have some information in our package tonight. We've tried to break everything out by ward so you have an idea of where everything is. We did meet with the administration several weeks ago, and we have some items that appear to be able to be handled in-house, and we've identified those, and some of them that we've identified would better be served contracting out at the appropriate time. So we have that breakdown in the package. We are going through adding cost estimates to everything as well. The items that you have tonight are from a couple of weeks ago as far as cost estimate. I do have some updated numbers which we've gone through and estimated costs for all the repairs throughout the city. So what you're looking at in your package tonight is incomplete, but we do have some updated numbers. For the drainage items that we've identified in our report, we're looking at a total cost of about $3.5 million for those. And again, that's in wards, all 6 wards. We did take out from the previous drainage study that was performed back in 2010,
Two of the larger repair items recommended are actually in MDOT's right-of-way. Some cross culverts on Arnold and Bushlog Street, and then some drainage along Highway 603. Those total about $2 million just for those two projects. We pulled those out of our estimate because we are coordinating with MDOT to seek some assistance with performing those repairs. They have a pretty extensive drainage department that might be able to help with doing some of those repairs through MDOT. So we've contacted them. We're trying to wait for a meeting to be scheduled to discuss further action on that.
So Jason, you said the performer from 2010, was that with Neil Schaefer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, good deal.
And most of what we've looked at incorporates some of those repairs that they recommended. The city's actually already incorporated some of those.
Okay.
We did pull out those two projects I just mentioned because I feel like that could be funded through MDOT, or at least we're going to request that it be funded through MDOT for those repairs. So what I just mentioned tonight is just strictly repairs that would be within city right-of-way or along natural drainage throughout the city.
Okay. And we brought this up, I brought it up in the last meeting, that project, what we call it, 28?
Main Drain 28?
Yeah. How are we moving on that? Because, you know, we can get all the drainage in the city working, but if you can't get out across the highway, then, you know, it's still going, the ditch is going to look pretty, everything's going to look pretty, but it just can't get out.
Yes, sir. Last I spoke, you know, we're working with the county crews, their ditch crews, to come in and clean that section out, primarily on Mr. Byers' property. Last I spoke to Mr. Johnson, they were working on it. They had to pull off to go do some other things. That's been probably a month or so since I last spoke to him. Lately, just the rains, everything's just been really too wet to get back in and do anything substantial. We did kind of hit a roadblock with a major right of entry that we need to continue cleaning that out towards Kingston Road and I guess it's Paradise. So we never could get
it done all the way to Watts Bio.
That's right, yes, sir.
Okay.
And we have the right of entries to do that segment of it.
Okay.
For Mr. Byer.
Now, supervisor, who's supervisor there? Scotty? Is it Scotty?
Scotty? Yes, sir.
Is that,
Scotty Adams.
that's supervisor, buddy? We need to get with Scotty and, you know,
I tell you what, I wouldn't wanna try to go back there right now where it's bad, it's wet.
Yeah.
It's
well,
wet.
I know it's wet,
Mike, what's your opinion on it? You been back
but
there?
we've had a lot of dry time, and, we need to, before election, we need to get with him.
Yeah, I agree with that, but
Yeah.
I just don't think they get in there right in that present time.
Right, I know they can't get in there right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Scotty very well. Let's go.
But, you know, October usually is one of our driest months, so when it starts drying out, let's try to get with Scotty and see if we can, get some movement on that.
I used to save all the wet work for this time of the year to go do it because it gets so dry, but we're not having that luxury this year.
Right.
I'll reach out to Mr. Vick again tomorrow and just see if he's got it on their schedule for any time soon.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we don't have any, okay, so we covered all the drainage. The next item, really final item I have is we did reach out to CSX for several railroad crossings.
4 of the 6 are in my ward, and let me tell you, I'm getting chewed out because of
Yeah.
this.
They're narrow, they're really terrible. We put in a request through their rail division to inspect those crossings with the hope that they would come back and repair those and widen it as they should be, repave it. The crossing itself is, for the most part, okay. It's the apron and the approaches to it on these railroad, on the crossings that we have identified that's in
Now, according to
disrepair.
them, my understanding is they're only responsible for 3 feet on either side of the rail, that the city is responsible for the aprons, and that we have to be able to pave those.
That's what they say, that's right.
Yes, that's correct. So when can we do this?
Well, we put in the request about a month and a half ago, and we
Oh.
have not received any communication back from them.
Okay.
And all the phone calls, they just told us, go to the website, fill out the information, that's what we did.
Yeah, but if we already know that the city's responsible for it, why aren't we doing it?
We can
Can I interject something on that? We don't have the right to go in there and do it. We've got the right to do it, if that makes any sense. We've got to get a flagger from the railroad, have their permission set by their time
Lionel, when can we go do it? We just can't go in and do it, we still have to have them involved in the process. They actually have a railroad flagman will be
You're
out there
kidding
to,
me.
no?
Oh, God, this is ridiculous.
That's their
We have a
standard
big hole
protocol.
on Washington, as you
Yes.
cross.
Larry, this is one of the reasons too, they, you know, with the letters and all have been sent in to cover us in case we just end up doing something over there for safety reasons, emergency reasons.
Yeah, because when you come over St. Charles, it,
Yes.
you know, you don't know whether or not, you're able to get over because of another car coming. It's just crazy. So,
If I may, I can prepare a cost estimate to see what it would take, you know, to actually get them paved and repaired and have them the correct width, for one thing. And I can present that at the next meeting, just so you have an idea of what the cost would be if we have to proceed in that manner. And there might be some safety funds that we could request from GRPC too, for some of those crossings to help offset some of that. So we'll look into that if that's okay.
yeah, because I think, Councilman Noblock just recently, we paved, part of a street, that apron that goes next to, where is it?
Yeah, that was over by the school board.
The Buttercup, yeah.
Yeah, he's still not finished yet. I guess he got caught up in some rain. He's got to put like another smaller layer
Yeah,
towards
maybe we
the
can get a
front.
cost estimate from him.
That was $3,500.
Yeah.
And he put 2.5 inches, dug out the old asphalt. Looks like a pretty decent job. That's all I had, unless you have any other questions. I got one. Me and Larry was riding around, and Scotty flagged us down. We spoke to him a little bit. He says the county's gonna be repaving some streets, some side streets in Spanish Acres, and wanted to team up with the city. They're gonna provide some funding and maybe get some street materials and things like that. Maybe you can contact them. He said this is gonna happen pretty fast.
Pretty soon, yes, very soon.
From Spanish Acres?
Yeah, Spanish Acres, Old Spanish Trail, and some other arteries throughout the bay.
Okay.
It's desperate in Spanish Acres, it really needs it.
That's
So does
one
the
of ones
trail.
we'd like to team up with, maybe see about doing the whole thing. I think Jason's got a price on that, whether we mill it or not down, $50,000-$60,000 difference in his price. See how much they willing to spend,
Yeah,
and we can go from there.
That would be great.
Be careful using that word, mill.
Mill, yeah, don't use that word mill.
Oh. Now, we're gonna take this milling up.
Any more questions for Mrs. Kenichi? All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I have one question. Do you know approximate timetable of the sinkhole? How long that goes back?
How long it goes back?
Yes.
At seminary?
Yes.
I would say at least 3 years.
Okay. So us having to fix it
Judging
when we
from the
come.
size of the tree growing out of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
19.
Just some of the money we have spent with tax increases is some things we've fixed and that's been lingering out there a while now just because we want to do it. Thank you. 2016? 1996, we put the culverts across the cemetery upstream of where the sinkhole was. And at that time, they had small sinkholes.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Right there by the cactus bushes, they had a couple of holes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Kenichi.
you.
All right. All right, council, new and old business. Discuss nonprofit budget requests.
I don't have any.
Y'all don't want to discuss it? All right. Okay.
There's only one thing that I noticed, Jeffrey.
It's the raised millage.
I was looking at the tourism. We cut the funding on tourism by $2,500. And I'm gonna see about maybe putting that back up to the original 25.
You have a 2250, 22.5 last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 25 last year.
25. I don't have my budget. I thought we gave them 22.5.
Now we raised it to 25 to cover the venue.
Cruising's 22.5 then, right?
Yeah, but it was funding some other stuff.
I don't even know what we budgeted at, 20.
Y'all had
It was
20.
22.5, didn't it?
Yeah,
That's
that's
what I
what's in
thought.
this year's budget, but last year was 25.
Okay, I thought it was the same.
You said 2,500 last year?
1,000.
Yeah, it was 25,000.
We usually give what, 20,000?
Well, 22, I think most of that is for cruising the coast venue. They get a very small portion of it for us there.
It buys the venue
Yeah.
to Bay St. Louis.
Okay. All right, Councilman, so you looking that up, or?
I mean, it's insignificant. We'll keep it,
Okay.
just make sure we funded enough to pay for crews and, for them to operate.
So we're gonna raise it to 25?
At this point, I think you're stuck with what's in your budget, because that's, that was what was prepared, advertised, and that's what went to your budget hearing.
Yeah, I don't think we can change it.
I don't think you can change it at this point. If you needed to, amend it, you could, but it'd be 3 months before you could amend it.
We haven't voted on the final budget, so it's just a millage.
Advertised.
But it was
Right.
advertised and went to public hearing, so unless you wanted to have to go redo all of that, which you, timing-wise, you couldn't.
Well, sometime during the year, we're gonna probably just have to give it back to her because their funding was cut, through because the 2% sales tax they were getting is going to the county, the One Coast.
Yeah, they sent us a breakdown of their revenues and expense, and they are balanced, they have a balanced budget. We did 2015, 16, 22.5, 16, 17, 22.5 last year. We did 25. So we're back at 22.5 this year. Okay. We can look at that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, approved travel for Lisa Tilley, Certified Municipal Clerks Program through MSU Extension Services, October 29th through 31, 2018, Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Motion to approve travel.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Seal to approve travel,
Second.
second by Councilman DeSalvo. Any discussion?
Discussion. We have money in the budget, Lisa, for this travel?
This is gonna be out of the new budget and
So,
There's been nothing spent yet in the new budget.
We ain't got one penny yet.
She's getting it first. Y'all can't go anywhere.
hotel gas and, food.
Hotel gas and fees, right?
right.
And fees, yes.
We got total requested budget is $4,500 for council for the year.
Yeah, and the total on this is, let's see.
3,800.
She's
not going.
I just threw something out there to see if I can get a reaction.
She's not going. Like $350, I think. Yeah.
That per diem went up.
It's like, Dad, you haven't McDonald's.
And then the, yeah, and the food, I mean, it's,
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
You wanna,
We're good. We got that sheet.
okay,
Yeah, we got it as part of our package.
all right. So there's a motion by Councilman Seal to approve, second by Councilman DeSalvo. If there's no more discussion, vote the motion. Motion carries 6-0. All right, next item is, discuss grass cutting contracts. Who put that on there?
Good. Well, oh, yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
We need a contract from the Gulf Breeze. Do they have one that they can provide us? Also, bond, performance bond, for a portion of the contract. Yeah, let's look, and let's talk about that, because they're doing Port and Harbor already.
Yes, sir.
So if we get a copy of their contract and see if we can mirror, I mean, there's no sense recreating the wheel, one governmental entity to another. So to me, I'd look at that and make sure we're getting the same or better contract.
For contract, bond, insurance.
Yep, let's see what they provide for the county, and I think we should
Okay.
be in line with the minimum of that.
Yeah, but since the
Question.
the prices were so, different, and this was so much lower than anybody else.
Well, and that's what I
But
was
we
gonna
didn't require it.
tell you, it wasn't in,
Do we want to see what the extra would cost to have that put in?
because if you ask for them now, just be prepared that they're probably, well, pretty guaranteed. They're gonna come back and tell you it's gonna cost you X amount.
What is percentage, what would it cost us? $100,000, $10,000, about that? I mean, cause we're at the point, we're on a, when we get a contract with them, will be for a 1-year contract, or we'll be on a month-to-month contract. Do we know?
Weren't they asking for like a 3-year
They
contract?
would like a 3-year
You tell me what, doing
at
3
his
years.
price with added 3 years at the
Well,
same
we'll get a,
price.
if we
Oh,
do
an
it,
option for no 3.
yeah, if we
Yeah,
do it,
option for another
we
3
we
at
do a
his
3-year
price.
contract on a bond.
Huh?
I'm gonna go back and advertise, or go back and tell them we'll like a bond price for 3 years. I'm
I
gonna
know
be
we
stuck,
discussed the bond when we were,
we're gonna be stuck with them. I'm gonna make sure they cut grass for me.
did
I
you
kinda,
have
I
a-
kinda agree, I
I would
mean,
need to do
well, I
that.
think we discussed it in, if I'm wishing Jason was still here, but I think our consensus was when we discussed this is that considering what kind of contract this is, and quite frankly, how difficult bonding companies are to deal with, even if you had a bond, you couldn't just let the grass, I mean, chances are, if something happened, you'd have to go out and find somebody else to do
Right.
it immediately. So Mayor, do you remember this conversation? I think when because we waited back and forth and talked about it, and it just kind of seemed like this would increase your cost, but it's not really gonna give you much of a benefit.
Let's see what they have. They might have one
Well,
in place at the port.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's see what, and then we'll.
And we can get a price from them too, just to see how much it
Yeah.
would be to
Yeah.
have it.
So, and there should be a performance clause in the contract.
yeah.
We're gonna make sure there's a performance clause in the contract then.
Yeah.
That way, if there are no performance issues, we can, with notice, cancel the contract.
Yep.
So that's one thing. If we're not gonna have a bond, we need to have a performance clause.
Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way we can get out of it. Won't be stuck with them and they're not cutting grass.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Do y'all recall at which meeting that was? Because I tried to look up when that.
Yeah, that was meeting before the 3rd on the 2nd Friday
Of what month?
in March.
No, I tried to look it up, but I couldn't find the exact meeting.
What'd you have for supper the last Thursday night?
It was probably a hot dog, 'cause I eat a
Yeah.
hot dog every day.
Point well taken.
It was a hot dog.
All right. Councilman Seal, you got what you needed?
Yes, on that idea.
Okay. All right, next item is temporary, partial golf cart permits.
About whether or not, say people coming in for cruising the coast, do we wanna do a week permit? Or just what else people, they've been calling as they come in cruising, staying in the casino, different places. Plans to bring a golf cart and all, wonder if they have to buy the permit for the year, or can they just buy a permit for a week? And that would be.
Well, so if you open it up by a temporary or partial, then a citizen of Bay St. Louis could go get one. Realistically, right?
One week.
Want it for a week.
Or whatever we
Yeah, one
decided.
for a week and
Right.
slap it on there, then you ride
Right.
around with a $10
Yeah, but
permit on your golf cart.
It'd have to
forever.
be a separate permit.
Well, I know, but it's just, if you wanna bring it, and you're gonna bring a $80,000 car, then that $50 is your permit. I mean, I don't know, it's just hard, how you administer it. Is it gonna cost us any less to give them a permit for a week?
We're gonna have to go out and get a separate permit.
Like, go out and get permits, we still got people's time. Realistically, it's not gonna be much less work on us, the same amount of work. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna create work, right? And then adds no value to the citizens. We're still paying people for the same permit. $100.
$100.
Generate revenue, huh? Yeah. Roll the dice, right?
Yeah.
But it just creates work,
Yeah.
my personal opinion.
So, so who we gonna, I'm kinda agreeing with Councilman Seal, they're gonna bring a car down here and then drive a golf cart.
Well, this is maybe for them, this is for people coming to campground and all,
Coming to where?
to campground in different areas.
I mean, there's tourists that come in for that. Well, I guess, this brings up point I just thought about. So cruising the coast, we're gonna let the golf carts go down the beach road?
Not in that block, not when it shut down.
So, yeah, I mean, the normal cars and stuff, everything's blocked off that way. Okay.
Even if it's a classic golf cart?
57 Chevy golf cart.
If you got a sticker, you gotta have a sticker to come through that.
Right.
Yeah.
Registration.
All right, cool.
Maybe they get ready.
All right.
So do we want to do that?
I personally don't want to do a temporary permit or tag. It's just gonna cost the same amount of money to issue them, and it'll cost us more work. If you want one, go get one. My personal opinion. There's 5 other y'all up there that can vote 5-1.
Oh, that's a problem. Coming
I
on the
agree
weekend.
with you.
Okay. Yeah, I do too, and that's coming on
That's
the
4 to
weekend.
2. Need 2 more.
Coming on the weekend, they can't register anyway if they're coming on the weekend, so they can ride around a day or two without one if they
Make them
come
wanna
in
come back, huh?
on a
All right, got the golf
Saturday.
cart Permit it, let's go back.
Yeah.
You know, this would be kind of a question for the chief to kind of address, that if we're in a situation like that and you have a visitor from out of town, and they show you out a state license or somewhere in Mississippi that's not normal, local, then they just need, to, unless they're driving haphazardly or DUI, then they just kind of cut them some slack and let them go about their business if they pulled over, unless they're riding on a sidewalk or something.
Yeah.
What'd you think, chief?
Yeah, the whole golf cart registration process is gonna take some time to get everybody, I wanna say I checked as of a couple days ago, we might have had 40 or so register. But we are gonna have a lot of people coming in from out of towns, for different events that do bring golf carts. We're gonna get some citation, warning citations printed up, and we're gonna try and make this a pleasurable transition as best we can with everybody with the golf carts. And, our main focus is gonna be safety first. We want the young kids to stay off of them. We want people to drive them safe. We don't want them parked on the sidewalks. But, somebody who comes in from out of town, we're probably gonna try and give them some courtesy of, hey, look, we do require registration, but, we're gonna be real lenient with everybody, even the people who live here full-time if they haven't registered yet. So we're gonna be lenient with them. We're gonna give them some time to get it registered. But we will put that information out there, so.
Thank you, Gary.
All right. So which way we're gonna go on this?
I'll say leave it like
I
it
mean, we
is for
don't need to
now.
take action, no action unless,
Okay. All right, council, new and old business, Councilman Salvo.
Only thing I have, as soon as it dries up, Mayor, if we can get the materials out there on some of them streets. I sent an email to Potts the other day. I know
Yes.
the rain's been holding us up,
Yeah,
but they getting bad.
Supposed to come, so they'll get that.
Yes, that's it.
Also on, gosh dog it, Pennsylvania and,
Mhm.
Ohio, I think we have.
Ohio's got a bunch right at that stop sign, and then Pennsylvania's got that bad spot in front of that
It's back.
house. As soon as the hot patcher's up, they on the list I sent, so.
Few things for you, Mike. First on my list is grass cutting along Highway 9 corridor and 603 with cruising the coast coming. We just got a few weeks to get that stuff looking good.
We have them coming in, they were supposed to start probably today, I'm not sure if they got to it, I hadn't noticed. But they come in and do that this week, then they'll start on 90, next week.
Second, there's nothing worse than hot rod of likes is running on down the street with potholes in it. You have the guys go through the thoroughfares going to and from the beach to Highway 90, make sure all those are patched up. There's 3 bad ones over by Pizza Hut, but that's on highway right away. So if they call MDOT, they'll come patch those 3 bad ones across the road over there. And there's 1 bad one in the entrance to City Hall. I hit it today. About 8 inches, 9 inches deep. It's a killer. It's a bad one. Right in the entrance, right in the front entrance, the western. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Smith.
Yes, sir. If we could get hot patched St. Charles as well as Cary Court.
What's on Cary Court?
Right in the center of Cary Court where they went in and dug out the street to
Oh,
put
where
the
they,
water.
yeah, attack.
Oh, man, it's bad. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Seal.
Yeah, we're talking about tourism agreement and whether we have a contract with tourism. I think we was gonna look at that, and I think consensus is we might not have one. And are we required to have one? Are they considered to be part of Bay St. Louis? Because we're giving them space, right? So they're a 501c3. Should we have a contract with them? Should there be insurance requirements? I don't know.
I've never been asked to look into it, so I couldn't tell you. We can look and see what they have, and if they don't have something to see about what we
I
need
think
to.
we need to review all our contracts with everyone.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
you know,
in
some
light
of
of,
us out there for 40-year contract, and, man, we getting ate up on expenses.
yeah, that's just one, it's a, kind of got a little crawl, we got this depot area and it's closed when we have events, right?
Is that you're talking the tourism?
Tourism,
In
yeah.
the depot?
Mhm. So, with Alice Mosley, we required them to be open a certain number of hours. They do have staff that does work, but if you go down there for an event on a Saturday or Sunday, they're closed.
They weren't open Saturday.
No, the building was open but was manned by Near East people. So, if it's gonna be a tourism spot, then you have tourists here, and the building should be open. And if you can't man it, then you find another home. Kind of what I'm getting to, my frustration level with some of this stuff is, it's not your building, it's the City of Bay St. Louis building, it's the taxpayers' building. It's not person's business to open and close when they feel like it. I'd like to contract with them, I'd like to have hours of operation with them, and I'd like to stipulate that when there are tourist events going on, that the building is open. Simple. Not asking for a lot.
Councilman Knobloch, thank you, Councilman Seal.
I want to bring up the emergency declaration. The last couple times we've had to declare an emergency because of all the confusion and everything, and everybody's busy going a lot of directions, making preparations. I've just not been notified about meetings and things like that, so I want to rescind the motion that we made where the mayor makes emergency declaration on this, and it's back part as a council
Everybody should get notarized if you with Hootie and them sending out all the emergency responses, email. We send out everything we get, they send it out to everyone.
Well, I understand that people
It's hard
getting
to
busy.
get sometimes people.
But it's a council function, and I want to bring it back to the council, that if we're going to declare emergency, we're involved in this.
I'm personally okay where it is. We talked about it. Declaration of emergency. Well, honestly, the only dang gum thing it does is if it's a declared state emergency, you can get funding for it. The mayor can spend money. Council has to approve it. But really, at the end of the day, it's a paperwork dance that if it's declared a statewide emergency, you can get funding for your overtime and people, and that's it. And yeah, it's hard to get 4 people in here, right? I never can make none of those, hey, 10 minutes, we got a meeting, I'm 30 minutes away. Not great, a lot of y'all can get here, but personally, I think it works okay.
All we need is 4.
Yeah, that's all you need is 4, if you can get them here. Sometimes we have trouble getting, but personally, I'm okay with it, and the rest of the 4, that's, again, if you get 5-1 vote, I'm okay with it. Won't be no hard feelings.
Well, I would just like to, just kept up to date when the meetings, and I know, Mike, you and I touched bases on the last week, and I was able to get to the meeting, with Hootie and them. I guess it's 6 in one hand and a half dozen in the other. If I'm around, I can get to the meetings. you know, if we, you know, call that emergency declaration. And, you know, I like the way it was in the past, where, you know, we all met, well, we got a quorum anyway, and, you know, just sat around, talked, how we was gonna handle this here, what angle we was gonna go at it at, and, you know, so, you know, however the council feel, you know, I would, you know, how does the rest of the council feel?
I think you got a good point about having the discussion before, if we had a meeting, but I'm okay with the way it currently is. Just honestly, my ward, I start getting phone calls so often about what's the water or tide gonna do, when's it coming in, that I stay busy doing that and checking on things a lot. If everybody's not registered with Holly Bibbo with EMA, register with her, and you'll get emails for conference calls. We'll have calls every few hours and different things that will all be attached to, and get the information through there, and I'm fine with that. Sitting down, Gary was bringing up, you know, have it a part of the city council. I think, yes, the city council needs to be part of the voting of it, but from there on out, I think it's a responsible matter to direct the crews and people and stuff as needed. You get 4 people in here trying to run the show.
No, we're not running it. We're just voting on emergency declaration, authorizing the mayor to spend whatever money he needs. So if we allow this, he could, well, not saying he would, but technically he could buy whatever he wanted under that emergency declaration, and you're responsible for it. So,
exactly. And yes,
just
we need to have the 4 people, at least 4 people, to have a quorum so they can vote and have an emergency, make an emergency based on vote. Got to be voted on.
Right, but I don't think we're gonna be put in that kind of situation. I think things are fine the way they are right now. I don't think we have to, have a quorum to meet, to listen to emergency broadcast. I was at the fire department with, several of the city employees, with, Miss Sissy, and we sat and listened to them. It's not gonna change anything. It's not gonna,
well, I'd like to go on record and just make a motion that the city council declares all states of emergency.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilman Knobloch. So basically, you're wanting to rescind the motion and that city council meet to declare state of emergency.
That's correct.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Second by Councilman Zimmerman. Any more discussion?
I'd like to, yes. Ms. Smith, if we came and had a meeting and authorized or declared a state of emergency, the mayor still don't have to call us for approval till all their overtime or nothing else, does he? I mean, so, I mean, I know we'll be authorizing it, but at the end of the day.
Do you want a copy of that resolution?
I passed it down.
yeah, it's passed down.
Can we pass it back down? Do we have an emergency operations plan?
Do we have an emergency plan?
Anybody know?
Not that I know of.
Nice uniform, chief.
I mean, one thing I want you to keep in mind, and I don't really think I can answer this until I want to look and see what's in that city emergency operations plan. But I also want you to keep in mind, when we think about local emergencies, I feel like everybody automatically goes to hurricanes, but it could be more than that too. So hurricanes, yeah, we have warning, we know they're coming, but this can extend beyond that. So I want you to keep in mind when you're trying to make decisions. I mean, it could be some weird freak.
A hard freeze, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it could be something that y'all might not all be able to get together
Train derail or anything.
about train
you know.
derail,
Yeah,
terrorist
we call this
situations.
at Hootie's recommendation. This isn't something we call on our own.
Yeah.
It's just something.
Well, like I said, I've never been, we were on several of them last time, and we always got 4, and maybe more. So, like I said, I just don't want to circumvent council authority, and just want to return it back to the council. Just
Could
for-
someone attend the meeting on the phone line?
What's that?
Could someone attend the meeting on the phone line?
Yeah, that's
So
what.
even if we can't get here, we still can get the forum.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would ask that you let me review a couple of different things that's in this and look, because I mean, I'm not. I mean, I know you're talking about bid laws and there's different things that you can do when there's emergencies, but I mean, you don't necessarily have to have this proclamation. This just allows for a couple other things. So just let me look into it. I don't want y'all to make some rash decision that's not informed.
Okay, so we still need to vote this motion, right?
Yes.
We have a motion on the floor. Okay.
I mean, she could still go ahead and do her
Yeah,
thing,
you can still
but I
look
would
into
stick
it.
with my motion.
You're gonna rescind your?
No, sir.
You're gonna keep your motion on the floor?
That's correct.
All right, and we're gonna keep you second. All right. All right, if there's no more discussion, let's vote the motion. It's a 3-3 tie, so.
It does not pass.
These win.
I think it's redundant because it's already we already have a set of emergency procedures set up. Just,
All right.
I mean, if it's redundant,
Anything
it's
else,
just
Councilman?
another step in the.
All right, Mayor, I just have one thing. I had a meeting with Habitat the other day, and they said that we are responsible for cleaning the inside of the pond, the retention pond. They said they keep the outside, and, because she
Not
gave me
true.
a sheet, and
Not true.
not true.
Buddy might change, might say, but
You
as
said
far
Buddy
as I've been
changed it?
told, no. That's not ours, that's theirs.
What was the question, Jeffrey? I'm
About
sorry.
Well,
inside the fences on for
yeah.
Habitat to
I
keep
guess
clean.
the last girl that was in there gave us a sheet, said that they would keep up the outside of the retention ponds, and we keep up the inside.
I've never heard that one.
Nope,
Uh,
nope.
On their
Okay.
property, right?
So we need to, Mayor, would you stress to them
We will. We told them that last time.
to clean both of them up? Thank you, sir. That's it. Okay, Mayor's report.
Um, Grapple truck, Heather, you have that ready to go out if we still want to do that?
Yeah, we're still working on that. Jason and I met last week, this week, sometime we met, and we're still getting it together. We're that close.
Can we have it for next meeting?
We should be able, well, as in Tuesday,
That's Tuesday.
possibly.
Either that or first meeting in October?
Yeah, if I can't get it on Tuesday, we could probably get it definitely by
Okay.
October. And I'll tell y'all the reason with that is, grapple truck's a solid waste service, so you have certain bid requirements that you have to follow. It's not a service, different bid procedures, but it's definitely like, it's an RFP, but it falls under Mississippi bid law. So it's just not as easy as what you wish it could be. So it's kind of a complicated document to put together.
Okay. We already did the recycling grant. I ask you to approve the reappointment of Lee Seal, Mr. J.P. Compretta, Mr. Chris Ross, Mr. Charles LaFleur to the Harbor Commission to serve a 3-year term.
All right, need a motion.
Motion.
Well, you like to,
Chris Roth, Chairman of the Harbor Commission, so I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
here to answer any questions.
okay. All right, there's a motion by Councilman DeSalvo, to approve the reappointing of Lee Seal, J.P. Compretta, Chris Raw, Charles LaFleur, to the Bay St. Louis Harbor Commission to serve a 3-year term. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? Let's vote the motion. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chris.
Ask that you approve the reappointment of Ms. Myrna Green as an alternate to the Bay St. Louis Harbor Commission to serve a 3-year term also.
Motion.
All right, motion by Councilman DeSalvo to approve the reappointing of Myrna Green as an alternate to the Bay St. Louis Harbor Commission to serve a 3-year term. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? Let's vote the motion. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Approve the appointment of Mike Hanson to the Bay St. Louis Harbor Commission as recommended by the Bay St. Louis Harbor Commission to serve a 3-year term also.
All right.
I'll make that motion, and I'd like to thank Mike for submitting the application and giving time to the city. I appreciate it. I think you do a great job. Appreciate everything.
All right. There's a motion by Councilman DeSalvo to approve the appointment of Mike Hanson to the Bay St. Louis Harbor Commission as recommended by the Bay St. Louis Harbor Commissioners to serve a 3-year term. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Zimmerman. Any discussion? There's no discussion. Vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Take a moment to introduce you, Mike Hanson.
Yes, sir.
SCN.
I think everybody's got his information.
You want to come to the
Thank
microphone
you.
and introduce yourself? Say something, say hi to us.
With the ARG.
My name's Mike Hanson. I've been in Bay St. Louis now full-time for about 6 years. I've been in the marine industry my whole life, and just happy to help any way I can serving for the city. And you got any questions?
No, but we're happy to have you aboard.
Yep. Happy to have you.
All right.
I hope I do a good job for you.
I think
You will.
you will.
You will, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Take care,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
F, allow the Bay St. Louis Police Chief Gary Ponche to execute the school resource officer contract with the Bay Waveland School Board District.
Yeah, and this is the same contract as we had last year. It's just for the 9 months that our school resource officer is assigned to the school district. They reimburse us, the city in full for the salary.
I'll make a motion, we accept it.
All right.
Execute the contract.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Knobloch to allow Bay St. Louis Police Department Gary Ponje to execute school resource officer contract. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? Let's vote the motion. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last, I ask that you approve a policy, the rules and policies for public works and utility departments on call-out. As of now, we have nothing written in our policies, in our handbook, anything covering this. And we would like, we have something, I think I sent it all out, everybody got it. It's very good, I think, worked with one of Heather and them group over there to help write it also, to make sure everything was okay with it. And what it is, you get overtime after you work your 40 hours in a week. Vacation, holiday doesn't count towards overtime. So, it's just something that we have in place. That way there's no ifs, ands, buts about it.
All right.
So should this not be just addendum to the employee handbook, be part of the employee handbook?
It will be.
Okay.
Is all the employees gonna sign that it applies to?
Will they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is.
Yeah. So,
Everybody that's,
Oh, okay,
that's on call.
oh, so
And
is it,
this will, it'll make sure to, we're trying to do is get something in place now, because we need it on the books. And then we'll make sure that once the actual formal, the new employee handbook comes out, that that'll be part of it.
yep, okay. Yeah, just want to make sure it's part of the employee's compensation and package. All right.
Make a motion to approve the call-out duty.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman DeSalvo to approve the call-out rules and policies for public works as presented by the mayor.
Second.
Second by Councilman Zimmerman. Any more discussion? Let's vote the motion. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Only other thing, just update, we did start litigation on the Bice Shiro case today, so,
Update what?
on the Bice Shiro case, that started today, so it should be
still
in
didn't
by the end of
understand
the
that.
week, so.
I still didn't understand you.
The Bice Shiro case
Yes.
started today,
Okay.
so hopefully by the end of the week, that might be over.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mayor. Attorney's report?
Obviously, the Bice situation, then is the Markwire litigation. The mayor was removed individually, so just to keep you updated on that, there hasn't been any other, updates there, just the fact that the mayor was removed individually, and, we're waiting on a motion to dismiss, a ruling on that. As far as the Gulf Breeze, did y'all ever, or do y'all wanna formally, I guess, authorize the mayor to negotiate a contract with Gulf Breeze to be brought back to you? I don't remember that ever
Never, yeah.
happening.
No, we
so-
put it out for bid, and they were the lowest bidder.
Yeah, we accepted the bid, but we never have formally went into a
Well,
contract.
I don't think y'all actually ever
Accepted a
accepted a bid.
No, we didn't. We just
So
took them under
that's what,
advisement.
in this one, I would just say that you would authorize the mayor and I to work on getting a contract put together
Do you need a
for
motion?
those services. Yes.
I'll make a motion that we accept the lowest bidder from Gulf Breeze to cut the grass 10 times a year, through, wards 1 through 6, and 22 times a year, as stated on the bids, for Highway 90 and Highway 603, including the four corners on the interstate.
What was the first part?
We went to 8. I think we went
10 cuts.
10
that's correct.
cuttings or 8?
No, I'm sorry, 8 cuts.
Eight,
I'm
eight.
sorry.
8 cuttings. and we're
10
gonna
was the
add-
bid.
Yeah,
Correct.
10 was the bid, but we said we'd go.
Oh, no,
8.
no, we have to go with the bid is, it's, the minimum was 10 cuts, so
Yeah.
we have to go with the 10.
So
And then
you,
20.
there's a motion by Councilman Knobloch to allow
Except, yeah.
our legal counsel, Ms. Heather Smith, and our mayor to put together the contract with Gulf Breeze. That
Do you-
sound right?
That's correct, and that was for 10 cuts, wards 1 through 6, and Highway 90.
But we're in contract negotiation, correct?
Yes.
They gave us a per cut price.
Yeah.
No, after we go over the,
So what they'll do, they'll bring back the contract.
They gave us
Yeah.
a per cut price, and I said I would like to go to 8 cuts. If we're gonna negotiate a contract, can we negotiate 8 cuts?
Has anyone discussed that with them yet or not? I mean, my only,
I did, I asked him about it, and his thing was the bid was for 10 cuts.
that's my only issue here is that you actually
I
did
mean, we can
bid
ask
it.
him to see if there's any difference in price per cut.
They gave us a per cut price, that's why I was asking. And
Right.
We're talking about for the budget, it's $20,000.
yeah, but on the bid, it said the per
Yeah,
cut
the per
price
cut was
kicks in
over.
after they satisfy the 10 cuts.
Yeah.
That was,
No,
that's
it
how it
does
read.
not say that. Just give us a price. That's why I wanted to negotiate it.
I think it said additional cuttings, maybe
Yeah.
is how it was worded.
Right.
So we haven't approved no contract as
No,
of
no,
yet.
they're
No.
not.
I wouldn't have,
So just let them bring it back to
I
us.
got it.
I don't remember what it said, but that's why it's,
Yeah, it
the
did.
budget's $20,000, I believe.
Per
isn't it?
cut above contract.
Yeah.
per
want-
cut above contract, okay.
Because we really talked about, because that's when we get, talking about the grass cut and how often we cut our grass, when does it start, when does it stop?
Yes, and
If we-
it fluctuates
Yeah, if
from
we
year to year.
dedicate 10, we only need 8. Probably will need 10, but still,
I don't think in the street cutting's a problem at 10,
right.
but the highways might be a little over at 22 on a certain year. We got a late freeze in or,
Right now, it's 2 weeks.
huh?
Right
Yeah.
now, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it looks,
No, it is, I mean, it's fine.
this is rain.
With the wet rain, it's at 2 weeks, and then 22 might not be enough.
We budgeted 328.
Huh?
I think we budgeted 328 was total contract price.
Yeah, and that's for 10 cuts per year,
Right.
and all the cuts on the Highway 90 and 603.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Councilman Knobloch, is there a second? Second by Councilman Smith, any more discussion?
Discussion, did you want a motion to accept it, or a motion to enter into contract negotiations and bring us
No, to
back
accept
something
this
to
as the lowest
accept?
bid.
Yeah, it's kind of both. I mean,
Okay.
given this is actually a service, so it's kind of outside of what we're normally thinking when we're
Okay.
doing an RFP. So, yeah, just, and you don't have to use the term accept if you don't want to, but I'm thinking this out kind of out loud. I would just say to accept
To
the
accept it or bring
proposal
it back
from
to us
Grass.
and let us approve it?
Yeah, I would say to accept the proposal from Gulf Breeze and to bring back a contract to you guys.
Okay,
Okay. All right.
all right.
So,
I'm good.
as stated, as I had, accepted as the lowest bidder?
Yes.
Yeah, and then just bring it back to us, I guess, to approve it.
I can't, Mayor, was that a bid or was a proposal, right? Yeah. So just don't use bid, use proposed.
Yes.
Contract.
So basically, you all are gonna bring the contract back to us and we're gonna approve it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right.
For the 10
That's the
cuts?
motion. Vote the motion. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Now I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor. No, I'm sorry.
Ms. Smith?
I think that's all I have.
Okay, good, thank you. Public forum?
Do we want to set up October meeting dates?
Yes.
Well, because we can bump them over to the 9th and the 23rd. I mean, I don't know if that messes Sissy up or anything, but that's the next Tuesday and the next Tuesday, that's 5 Tuesdays.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's still September. That would get us back on track.
All right. Yeah.
So you say move this one to the 25th?
Well, it's planning and zoning.
Well,
Keep this one to be real short.
Now, I could be here if we did, yeah. If we did that Wednesday, I could be here till about 6:45 and then turn it over to, Mr. Larry.
Third,
I do want to mention,
Third,
mention.
with the changing of this, the Granicus program that we're doing, we're scheduled to do a parallel meeting where they work, he's working on it with me while the meeting's going on. So I don't know if we can get that rescheduled, so just to throw that out there. And then a minutes review, we would have the next day with him, so just to kind of let y'all know.
and that's scheduled for the 2nd?
That's scheduled for the 18th.
18th.
We may
we'll be
just-
here,
It's, we
yeah,
may
we'll be
just-
here the 18th.
All right.
Okay, y'all are rescheduling which one?
Just
October.
first.
October.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That is our go live meeting, so we may, I don't know, I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Go live another date.
Huh?
We can go live another date.
Well, if you can, because they've got a pretty
Right.
crazy schedule, so.
Okay. Y'all want the third? We'll go ahead and schedule it. Can everybody meet the third? That's a Wednesday.
That's fine.
All right.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it on my end.
All right. Lisa, the third,
Okay, so the
5:30.
The second is gonna be to the third.
And make a motion to move to reschedule the first meeting in October from October 2nd to October 3rd, 2018, to accommodate the National Night Out being held at the Community Center in Bay St. Louis on October 2nd.
There's a motion by Councilman Seal to move our city council meeting in October, from October the 2nd to October the 3rd, to accommodate the National Night Out. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Councilman Smith. Any discussion? There's no discussion, vote the motion. Motion carries 6-0. All right, public forum. Mr. John Ullman? All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Rhonda Oliver? You withdraw yours also? You're not gonna pass that opportunity.
No. Who takes care of the barricades?
Say that again?
Who takes care of the barricades?
Public Works Department.
Okay, they're all over town. I think they have some over by the seminary that somebody shoved up in a pile. They're probably all bent by now. So somebody needs to go check and see. On the rentals, you were talking about the nonprofits over at the depot. Do you have schematics for them? They have square footage, but they don't have a schematic of the floor plan. Do you have a schematic
Not
of
a-
what area
not a-
that they're supposed to be renting?
Tourism?
Either one. You got two in there. So
I think that-
schematics of any.
I think the top one did because there was some square footage measurements taken for the Mosley Museum. But, yeah, not sure the tour, that's why I don't know where you have on tourism,
Okay,
that's why I'm
shouldn't it
asking.
have, shouldn't that be attached to the minute, to the lease?
That's why I'm asking, only if we have a contract with
It's not.
tourism at all, that's why I'm asking.
Okay, it's not with the lease.
It should, I think, I have to go look at the original minutes. I know it was, when it was originally done, there was
It was in the
a,
middle of March, I think.
it was with it, so I don't know.
It wasn't with the,
Lisa
it wasn't
needs to
with
go
the,
back and-
lease.
Yeah, Lisa needs to go back and check on that, because it was with it whenever, I think the building department sketched it out. Because it was with it when it was brought before the
Okay,
council.
can I get a copy of that? Where do I get a copy?
Well, that seems to be a good question. So Lisa will have to look for it
Hello?
and see.
I don't know. That's not
No,
my,
it was,
that's not my job.
I mean, it was, whenever it was brought before you guys, it was, y'all had it, so there's a,
I mean, you
There
talk
should
about
be a
the,
schematic of every,
when you talk
building.
about the building plans?
a floor plan. When you do a lease, I lease property all the time. And I have a floor plan. Okay, it's not with the lease, when I looked at the lease in the minutes. Where can I
Well,
get
they
one?
did draw one out for the last part of that lease we did.
Jeffrey, wasn't it in they have a floor plan drawn out
For
in
the school area.
when they did the appraisal, I believe.
So it should be attached to,
The lease?
the lease, the floor plan that they drew out, for the teaching area in there.
Yeah, I mean,
How long has the building on Main Street been vacant?
Couple months.
the little old garden center,
Mm-hmm,
I think last month was their last month.
okay. Because it's in the paper as advertising to rent.
Yeah, like last month.
So we're
was-
really down on our rentals. I don't know why, all of a sudden, we're losing money. Because everything stayed rented before. The community hall was rented all the time. And that doesn't seem to be bringing in as much money in the last year as it did before. Is there a reason for that?
Oh, rentals now?
I think other venues, they got one opened up on 603 up there, big barn style, and they got Paradise at Picayune opened up in the last year and a half or so. I mean, a lot more competition. At one time, that was kind of your only venue. Now you're just getting a little bit more competition for it, I think. That's the only thing I could figure.
Well, another thing, and I've brought this up before, is that our website was taken down,
Yes.
and those things were advertised on there, so if a person's from out of town, they weren't able to see it for
Have-
about 6 months.
Have we sent anything to Chad yet about adding all that to
And
there?
even though y'all
pictures?
did increase all the rental rates,
I have asked.
your money's still down. So y'all need to,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who's taking care of that, but it needs to be looked into.
We need to market it.
Yeah.
Oh, not another contract, I hope.
No.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. All right, we don't need a closer executive, well, minutes approval. August 16, 2018 special meeting.
yes, this is the only one we're doing.
Motion to approve.
Been a motion by Councilman Seal to approve the August 16, 2018 special meeting.
Second.
Second by Councilman DeSalvo. Any discussion? Vote the motion. Motion Carries 6-0.
On August 21st, I updated them, but I sent Lisa the wrong copy. The issue was the county funding, $25,000 for the work they were doing. It appeared that the city was giving that money to the county, but that was money the county had already had for us from Road and Bridge that did not give it to us. So I reworded those two paragraphs, and I sent her the wrong update, or sent her the wrong copy.
So we'll
I'll
put
send her-
this on the next.
Yeah, the 8/16 instead of 8/21, so I'll send those tonight when I get home.
All right. And there's no need for a closed executive session tonight, correct?
Not for me.
All right. Yes, the insurance, that you passed out to Ms. Smith.
Oh, that was with the consent agenda, with
Okay.
the other insurance packet on the consent agenda.
Okay. All right. Good deal. All right, there's nothing else. Need a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Smith,
Second.
second by Councilman DeSalvo.
Yeah.
Let's vote the motion. Motion passes 6-0. Meeting adjourned.
Good job, Mr. Reed. I thought it'd be here all night when I looked at the agenda. I thought we was camping.